that way.
Oh,
but I've been looking forward to this all day, so I was like, oh, God, I can't wait. Hola, people. But I've been too busy to keep up with the other social media shit for it, so I feel bad that I fell behind. But maybe I can find time this week. I don't know. I'm going to try and start streaming again this week as well, so we'll see.
Good. Yeah. There's like a how do I want to say this to kind of play upon the rain, a deluge of good games to be playing right now.
I want to like get back into it because when Starfield comes out, I'm going to be streaming it.
Oh yeah.
So like
100% what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, like so I want to get into the rhythm again of feeling it again and getting used to gaming and keeping an eye on chat and still keeping an eye on the game. So I figured get it going before Starfield comes out on the 9th. But
yeah, and then I've been playing Remnant 2.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about it. It's on Xbox, but I don't have the money, so I'm just not buying it.
It's disgustingly good. Like if Starfield isn't as good as it should be, I could see Remnant 2 easily winning Game of the Year.
I've heard Baldur's Gate probably wins Game of the Year.
I think that's the only other contender.
Well, and you got to remember Zelda. Everyone said that was like the greatest game ever made. I'm not big into it, but
Remnant 2 is like Zelda for people who play first-person shooters.
Oh, it's a shooter?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like Dark Souls type shit.
It is, but you have a primary gun, a secondary weapon, so like an auto pistol or a single shot pistol or a double barrel snub nose, and then you have a melee weapon, and then you can build your character to be like a melee champ, or there's like different archetypes and shit like that. So like you can be like a tank.
Tesco, what's up, dude?
Tesco's getting ready to travel.
Where's Tesco going? Hi, Darlene.
I actually think he already traveled, by the way. Tesco, where were you going? Was it Wyoming this week?
That's where my dad lives. We're at Wyoming.
Yeah, Wyoming.
If you don't mind me asking, I don't want to like creep on you, but I'm curious where we're at in Wyoming. Like I said, my Rawlings, don't know where that is. My dad's in Star Valley Ranch. I mean, I don't know why I know anything about Wyoming except for Jackson Hole. Rawlins. I'm gonna see how far you are. I'm curious. I mean, I'm in Maryland in the middle of bumfuck, but you're on the complete other side of the state. Got it.
I'm in the boonies of New York.
But I mean, I love Wyoming. I don't know if you're there for work or what, but if you have free time, there's some good things to do up there. I mean, it's not a lot. You got to get up to Jackson and Yellowstone and whatnot. But on the east side where you're at, there's the big rock thing I can't think of the name of that natives think bears carved. Devil's Tower. But yes, it is gorgeous out there. And the low humidity makes it worthwhile in the summer. But
low humidity and limited amount of people. That's what makes it good in the summer.
Yeah, it's like the 8th biggest state in the United States or something, and it has the lowest population. So, I mean, they literally have a town of a population of 1. The guy literally is a sheriff of the county, and he opened a post office and became a postmaster so he could have his own town.
So he is the town. Like he's literally the town.
Literally, yeah.
He might as well go for judge as well. The only person voting is him. He's like, you know what? I endorse myself. Vote for me.
It's like right after you leave Nebraska. It's not far into the state of Wyoming because I had to stop for gas, and he had a gas station there, so I stopped for gas.
Can you imagine? That was really cool. Like what a pitch that is. Just so you guys know, if you want to move in, I'm the judge, the postmaster, the sheriff. I'm also the town clerk, the mayor. What else would you guys like to know?
Yeah. All right. So we missed last week because of bad weather here. Took out power lines and made my town's main road closed for an entire week. And and power kept coming on and off here, and I didn't want Dot to be like us to be mid-show making predictions for like games and stuff, and then me just vanish. So we figured wait for the weather to clear up. You know what? On second thought, stay out of this time.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, there's a strict test to get in, and I'm the person who approves it. So you're out.
I met him when I went through because he worked the gas station during the weekends. So I was like, oh. But anyway, so we're going to do NFC East today. I have to look at how many weeks to the season to see if we have to pick up two like divisions next year or something, next week or something.
First game is September 7th, Chiefs versus Lions.
Hold on. So if we do today, we still got 3 divisions left. We're not going to do another division today because I just haven't prepped.
Actually, we could do so after today. We have 3 left.
Yeah, so we would actually finish on the 4th, the week of the season. But we would have to make picks.
4th would be. Would we also have to do the draft that week?
We gotta find people. We gotta find people to actually talk that want to do the draft because I have found 2 besides myself. Oh, 3.
My brother's in. I talked to him. He's in.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
We can do 2 divisions next week. We can do the South and North. They're both kind of easy.
Yeah.
And then do the West the following, and then the draft. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll get. That was something big that just happened right before the show.
Did Dalvin officially sign
with the Jets? $8.4 million.
Someone said something to me, but I thought that was a couple days ago, and I might have just missed it because I know Zeke.
I think it was at like 7:26 or 7:30. I don't know if he's officially signed, but the deal has been negotiated, and they have the terms. The terms are already out, so it looks like he's signed. And Zeke Elliott obviously signed as well.
Yeah, Zeke signed with you guys today at the Patriots. So.
I don't know how I feel about that.
If he's the backup to Ramondre, I'm cool with it. I don't really see a purpose for him otherwise.
And they're not paying him shit. They're not paying him anything, so I'm good with that.
Yeah. To answer your question, though, about the Dalvin Cook signing, I actually hate it.
Breece Hall's good enough.
Well, you have Breece Hall, but then you've got Michael Carter, I think, is a perfectly good backup. Like, I think Michael Carter is 100% a phenomenal backup. And Dalvin Cook's numbers, as Dot has said the past few weeks, have been going down over the past few years of his career. So, like, it just doesn't make sense to take a shot from a third-year player and your second-year player who might get some of the ball time. It just doesn't.
Also, what doesn't make sense is the Jets' offensive line isn't good.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad.
It's not good. Like, it'll be better because now they don't have Zach Wilson in the backfield throwing the ball. They have Aaron Rodgers, who can get rid of the ball quickly or throw it away like a real quarterback does, not like these young guys. So that'll mitigate some of that. If you look at Peyton Manning didn't have very good offensive lines at times, and because he got rid of the ball quickly, it takes away from actually seeing how bad the line is. But Dalvin Cook is declining, and now you have a declining running back running into a line that isn't very good. So it doesn't make sense to me. Like, especially for that money.
It's a ghost.
Oh, wow.
What's good, Lexi?
Lex she's got is that. Here. Oh, she's at the top of the hour ad break at 8:15, you know.
I forgot about the pre-roll ads. I need to figure out how to change them so they just happen at the hour mark or like whatever. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I agree with that. I just don't think it's a great deal. And they paid a lot. I don't know.
Well, not the biggest fan. We got free money from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, right. Like I would have got him a tight end.
Like if you got him for the for the same money that he got Zeke for, which is about half of what they got Cook for, okay. Yeah, I'm not so bent out of shape about it. But you're paying this guy $8.5 million. And okay, Breece Hall's coming off an injury, great. But like I said, you're a declining running back who could be very good. I hope he makes me look stupid. I would love for that. But if you just look at the numbers, it's the same. He's similar to Zeke. Zeke got paid, and then Zeke was never the same. Dalvin Cook's
Good,
been
Lex.
steadily declining year in and year out.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not like his O-line got any better. Minnesota didn't have a great line, but New York's is no better than Minnesota's. So
right, like it's just changing situations.
Yeah. How you doing, Lex? Hi, Faye. So we have to talk NFC East and stuff, but we still need to get back to real quick the Wander Franco news. Have you heard this story?
I saw what's occurring. I didn't really look deeply into it. From what I hear, the story is something about an underage girl,
a 14-year-old girl,
and there's a big investigation in where he's from, and there's an investigation now by major leagues. So he's going to go. I don't know how they designate him. It's some weird designation.
I have no idea.
I pulled it up because I wanted to look at it, and it's restricted list. The restricted list.
That's what I thought it would be, but I wasn't sure.
The Rays have said they're going to keep paying him his salary, which you don't have to do if you put him on the restricted list. But the allegations are, yes, an underage girl, and a relationship with an underage girl, and it was kind of like put out on social media. I think it was something like the scheduled timeline was he was supposed to have a day off. I think it was on Friday anyways. So he didn't play Friday, but then he was in the dugout on Saturday and then left the dugout in the 5th inning or something like that.
No. He was in that game. They yanked him out in the 5th inning.
Yes. Okay. So he was in the game, then he was yanked, and then he left the dugout in the 5th inning.
Yeah. And then Kevin Cash claims that it was just scheduled. He was like, "Oh, it was just scheduled. We weren't told to take him out of the game."
That's like corporate team speak for we're covering our ass.
Well, yeah, because I don't know if you heard, but the next day on Sunday was the merch day at Tropicana, and the merch day were snapback Wander Franco hats for 14 and underage children.
Oh.
And they couldn't take it off because they'd already advertised it all week long. So, they just had to let it go.
That's bad timing. That's just bad timing.
That was Faye, a baseball player, one of the best young players in baseball, who signed a massive deal a couple years ago as a 19-year-old. He's now 22, I think. Was yanked from a game mid-game, and allegations came out that he had inappropriate relationships with a 14-year-old girl. And there hasn't been any evidence. It's just been allegation on Twitter, actually, is where it started. And baseball.
Formerly Twitter. X.
Yeah, X. Yeah, but I'm not giving him his credit. He won't actually fight Zuckerberg, so I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done with Elon.
Declining platform.
But he so the tweet was then deleted later, but MLB wants to make sure they do their full thorough investigation to make sure they're not letting a guy be idolized by children that might have been doing something with children. So they're just protecting themselves and the league, and
I don't
making
mean
sure
to detract from this, but as I was reading the article I was reading, I was really stupefied by the amount they're paying him this year.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
$2 million.
Yeah, his contract is backloaded out the ass.
Yeah, it's crazy. He signed a $182 million contract, and he's getting paid $2 million this year.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
I looked at it and I go, oh, so his contract was an extension contract, so he's got to play out the rest, and it's like $2 million into a percentage of $180 million is pretty small. And
it's because, if he did do this, he definitely needs locked up. But unfortunately, athletes and shit get away with it pretty bad. They look at Drake Bell. It'll be like,
well, just the one that I can think of was what was it? One of the Eagles linemen was accused of. It was actually accused. Actually, it was serious. He was accused of rape right like a week before the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah, he's 22. I was checking. Yeah, so his contract, by the way, they signed it. He was one of the fastest you've ever seen. He came into the minors, and a year later was already in the majors. So that's why they did that deal immediately. So that way they didn't have to deal with that minor league contract and then pay him. They just paid him before he even got big.
But, yeah, I mean, they honestly saved themselves some money doing that.
See,
he's only
gotten
better.
Ew, skin crawling. What? Because your kid's going to school?
It's only an allegation. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's come out about it, and I'm not trying to defend the guy. What I'm saying is, it's only an allegation at this time. There has been put out no evidence of this. It was just somebody saying it on Twitter, and essentially the government where he's from said we will investigate it, and Major League Baseball has said we will investigate it.
And his girlfriend is adamant that she has been with him almost every day. So she is adamant that he didn't do this. But
again, that kind of is also, you have to take that with a grain of salt, right? Like,
yeah. Well, it's like fuck, I can't think of his name. Ted Bundy. His mom's was adamant even on the day that he was admitting it in court that he didn't do it.
Yeah. His eyes say differently.
But yeah, he's from the Dominican, so it's not like a lot of the I found out recently actually that a lot of like South American countries like 14 and 15 are age of consent, but Dominican is 18 still. So yeah, he would still be in trouble in his own country too, which means if it happened there, which I'm assuming it did since they're investigating, he would actually probably have to go back.
Yes.
And serve it there, whatever their penalty for it is. But it's gross, and it's hopefully not true because honestly, I've always been a big Wander Franco fan, so this makes me sad to see. Like Aaron Hernandez. I was a big Aaron Hernandez fan.
Yeah, well, there were apparently when you hear about this documentary coming out about that Florida Gators team, there's some other stuff that might come out that could have pointed to what was going to occur later on. Some gang type activities while they were in college.
Yeah, that Florida team was disgusting. Minus Tim Tebow.
No. Which is funny that the leader of the team was Tim Tebow. They're like, we need a face to just hide everything else behind Urban Meyer. Okay, so we got Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer, and then this just
Granted, we've seen some nasty shit get along with Urban Meyer, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's Urban Meyer.
But all right, so we got NFL stuff to talk about. Before we make picks, I do got to say, I don't know what the fuck's going on with Michael Orr, but coming out today saying that his adoption story was fake.
And that they made him sign basically an agreement where they could profit off the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad because that movie's so good.
Yeah, that was a really bad look for not just Michael Orr, but like just that whole situation. And the sucky thing is, he said when he was playing in the NFL, he said that after he retired, he said that movie distracted him so much that it kind of ruined his shot at actually having a good career. So I kind of feel like, he made millions off the movie, so whatever. I guess.
And apparently they interviewed his non-adopted but adopted brother too, like recently.
That's crazy. That story broke today, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I thought I was being hoaxed, and then it was on ESPN, and I was like, "Oh."
One of those things where you're like, so it is Hollywood.
But
next you're gonna tell me radio was fictional. No, it's just one of those things. You know what I mean? It's like that was, like I said, it was such a good movie. It was such a heartfelt story. It's like, oh, they were just using it to profit. Makes sense. We're American,
Yeah. Before we get going, I want to make sure I keep count in case anyone wants to sign up. So it's you, your brother, me, Mike, somebody from Dylan's league, and my buddy Matt. So that's 6. Do you have anyone else?
I might have a couple more from my group. I just got to get a confirmation. I can do that in the next couple days.
Okay, because I'm going to keep letting people know they can join until I'm told otherwise. We're trying to get to 12, so... Ow, I have a cat claw on my heel. I don't know where that came from. What flavor is the new Taki? I don't know. I didn't know they made new Takis. Mew.
I don't know if they're flavored differently. They might just be dyed differently.
Mew, stop. All right, I'll be right back. I got to get him. He's under the chair now. Grab me.
I'll run through some other news then. For a lot of people who don't follow golf, because I'm a weirdo and I follow golf. The PGA FedEx Cup playoffs started this weekend, and the guy who won a tournament on the last week, Lucas Glover of the regular season, also came into the tournament in this weekend, and apparently he's just playing lights out because he won his second tournament in a row and moved up from like the bottom of the list to third in the standings by winning. So he is trailing John Rahm, who's number one, and Scotty Scheffler, who's number two, going into next weekend. So 70 golfers played this weekend, 50 play next weekend. The top 50 qualified. And then from the top 50, the top 30 moved to the Tour Championship. What's crazy about golf is that people don't understand that last year's Tour Championship was decided by one putt. The putt was missed by Scotty Scheffler, and that putt cost him $12 million.
Jesus, yeah. I remember that.
Yep.
We talked about that.
The winner gets 18 million, the loser gets 6 million. And not by loser, I mean second place person. So
this is an interesting question by Awkward Taco. Now the curiosity is it so are the teams already set and you're doing like 1 and 2 in a rookie, or is it like legit just starting fresh? Because I mean, obviously, I don't know. It's hard to say it, but I would say Bijan, if you're talking dynasty, is obviously going to be worth something. I don't know. Picks 1 and 2. I'm curious who Dot would think, but I would say Mahomes and Bijan if we're talking dynasty, give you the most point value over time.
So 1, 2, and a fourth. Okay, so you're not. So you definitely got to take. Yeah, that's tough. Dynasty, half PPR, so you're not really going to be pressed. I mean, you would think a wide receiver, but because you have the fourth.
You can get some good receivers. How many teams in this league?
Yeah, I think that's the question, is how many teams. Because you definitely want to take your quarterback then. 16? Oh, yeah. You want to take...
Yeah, you could be...
God, I think Mahomes is, skyrocketing at this point, right?
Yeah,
you could take Mahomes. I mean, you could take Burrow. You could take...
I think with Burrow's questions every preseason getting injured or something happening, Mahomes is just more of a guarantee. It's the only reason I said Mahomes.
Yeah, I would think Mahomes. The only other person I think I would contemplate might be Herbert.
Yeah.
For the quarterbacks. And then I think I would take a running back because it's half PPR.
That, and by round 4, there's no good dynasty-worthy running backs.
Yeah, really so you have to take the running back with one of those two. And if you go round 4 with 16 teams and you don't take your quarterback, you're not getting a top-end quarterback either. So you're wasting it on a wide receiver and half PPR. So yeah, I think you go running back and quarterback. And then I think the running back thing is how risk-averse you are. Because personally, I would probably take Bijan Robinson. Just from what I'm hearing out of camps, yes, he's a little risk because you haven't seen him play, but everything coming out of camp is just ridiculous about him.
Well, because look at who the other people are above him in regular fantasy leagues are right now. It's McCaffrey, who's injury risk and older, and Eckler, who's injury risk, not happy with this team and older.
And doesn't run well. He's a catcher.
Yeah. So,
so it's basically top 3 is probably in any PPR league, McCaffrey, Eckler, and Bijan Robinson. But Robinson, they say, was like possibly the best thing to come out of this year's draft.
Yeah, and since we're talking dynasty, which means you'll have them for the rest of their career unless you trade them, I 100% roll with Bijan just because his career is longer. And, I mean, he wasn't injured at Texas like we're talking about. Kirsten is injured every year, so I'm just a little worried about CMC's longevity. And the quarterback room in San Francisco is starting to look a little shitty, to be honest. And I'm not trying to shit on Purdy, but 3 interceptions in joint practice has me a little nervous. Yeah, I don't know. But if you want our opinion, I'm definitely going to say, for me at least, Mahomes and good old Mahomes and Bijan would be mine. And I wasn't big on Bijan in the draft, but everything I'm hearing out of Atlanta, I can't stop saying that he is easily one of the best players right now to take in fantasy football. I don't know, dude. Cat.
Yeah, and the thing with Dynasty is you want to, depending on how long you guys think this league is going to run, it's going to be like running an NFL franchise, which means you're not going to compete for a championship every year. So you want to get the best bang for your buck now, especially if it's just starting. So you want players with longevity, because at least they'll hold their value if you do go to trade them. Like, say you stay with Mahomes for a couple of years and then you want to trade it because you need other pieces. At least you have that premier piece that's almost a guarantee. Robinson,
rookie draft. So,
yeah, and then Robinson can be your flyer a little bit. Like we said, he's younger. I mean, he's got ridiculous stats. When you look at historically his stats versus the last player who had his stats, they would compare him to Breece Hall, who outside of his injury last year was going to have a dominating year at the position. But yes, running backs tend to get hurt, but I mean, you'll be able to pick up other people might pick up some top tier wide receivers, but because it's half PPR, it's not going to be as valuable.
So, yeah. And there's going to be some good young rookies that are going to burst onto the scene that you can get later in the draft in a dynasty league that might really help you out in the end of the season. I think I do. I think Bijan and Mahomes are your best options for a dynasty league. Now, if it was like a redraft or just a keeper, I would consider changing that. But since it's dynasty, Mahomes will be good for at least the next 8 years. And Bijan probably the next 5. So just playing the wrong running back longevity game here. But I'm actually really happy to answer a fantasy question mock today, and I got Mahomes and Bijan and got Pickers in the 4th. Yeah,
George Pickens, his stock will rise.
I think that's a great pick in the 4th.
I heard his numbers today were that he, as a rookie, he had the highest percentage of 1 catches under duress. Like basically,
he had the most contested catches in the NFL last year
as a rookie. So as long as Pickett can get him the ball, that dude's going to grow.
Yeah, no, I think Pickens in round 4 was a steal. I actually am really high on George Pickens this year. Not so high on his quarterback, but I'm real high on him. So,
yeah, I think the slam I hear on Pickett, the slam I have on him is I don't support quarterbacks who wear 2 gloves. 2 is that he's slow to get rid of the ball, and he's putting a lot of pressure on his line to keep him protected, and he doesn't have scrambling ability like some of these other guys. So I think they just have to work on him getting the ball out quicker. And with a guy like Pickens, who can win a contested catch, you can throw it in his direction. They got to teach him that. I think he has the weapons. The Steelers are a well-run team. So I think if you get him in the 4th, that's a hell of a pick. So,
all right, that's anyway. Today we're doing NFC East predictions. We can answer any fantasy questions. Don't feel bad about asking more, or anyone else jumping in and asking fantasy questions as the season gets closer. But we're picking the NFC East records today. Game by game as normal, and we're giving our top 10 tight ends. I honestly don't know if I can do rookies because I'm just going to tell you both Packers rookies because I'm biased.
You are a little biased from your own team, but all right, we'll take that.
Actually, I like the Bills kid too a lot. But anyway, let's get going on the NFC East. I have the NFC South up, so give me a second. I don't know.
Listen, I'll make it easy for you. Let's start with America's team, who is valued at $9.2 billion.
America's team?
Yeah.
We're not doing the NFC North. The Packers aren't on here.
Oh, I thought you said the East.
I said we're not doing the NFC North. I call the Packers America's team.
Oh, okay. I was like, hold on a second. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Give me a second. I'll pull up the Cowboys.
Yeah, valued at $9.2 billion. Signed their stud offensive lineman today to a new contract.
Zach Martin?
Yep.
About goddamn time. That ancient man needs to play.
Yeah, I think it increases his contract from like 14 to 18 million. Not a huge jump, but in the range. I think the highest paid are 21 and 20.5, something like that.
I mean,
So,
he's the only like Notre Dame player to ever be healthy through season after season after season. So you got to pay him, right?
he didn't take the 6 games off?
Yeah, he's been healthy his whole career. Like he's missed a couple games, but man, that guy's been healthy. But all right, so to the Cowboys we go. We've picked a good bit of their schedule because we did the AFC already. If anybody wants to hear who we've picked in those games, we will get to them. But we start with the Giants. The Cowboys start on the road on September 10th at 8:20 p.m. I don't know if they're going to be doing a 9/11 tribute or just let the Jets do it the next day on Monday Night Football, but that is something to keep an eye on for emotions. But anyway, first game of the season for the Cowboys is Sunday Night Football. Unfortunately, we all have to suffer through that.
It's the primetime Sunday Night Football game. America's team versus the Giants, you know?
Hopefully Saquon runs all over them because I am not a Cowboys supporter, but I
right now
having a hard time.
Right now, Dallas is a 3.5-point favorite.
Oh, I love that we're actually able to get favorites now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting close enough where it's actually betting time.
Yeah, I like it. And by the way, if anyone wants to pick along, we do keep track. I will post all of them when we're done, and they will be on our YouTube and TikTok channel, all of our picks, so your picks will be included. But anyway, this game's hard for me. I'll let you start it out.
I think it is a hard game. I think currently in the state of the two teams, I'm leaning towards the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys this year are still good enough to do what they normally do. I don't think they're able to just outright win this division, but I think they're good enough to get to about 11-6, 12-5. So I think this is a contested game, but barring any injuries, I would take the Cowboys here, maybe by a field goal.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Giants. I'm going to go with them because they're at home. I think this is too close to call. I do think the Giants are very underrated this season. I think upgrading at tight end and then getting Jalen Hyatt were huge. And Paris Campbell could make a nice little dent in this team. And if we all forget, they got Darren Waller, but they might run a 2 tight end formation this year because if you remember, Bellinger really stepped on last year before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So having those two plus it's not a great receiver room, but a decent receiver room now that you've removed Kenny Golladay.
First, I got to address this comment. 99 out of 100 get sick or hurt every season.
Zach Martin is the golden child. There's no one else that's going to be able to say that they don't.
He is the anomaly. He is the anomaly.
I mean, Kyle Hamilton only missed like 3 games last year and was almost Defensive Rookie of the Year, but he still missed his games.
All right, so he's got 3 to take off this year. We're good.
Yeah. But I'll go Giants. Just this is, again, a toss-up. We make picks every week as the season comes. If the people who are new here don't know that. But this is our preseason stuff. And right now I'm just feeling the Giants at home. I don't know. This could be way different. Cowboys can steamroll them. They are pretty good on primetime. But unless it's the Packers against them, then they just choke. I don't understand. Michael Mayer get hurt. Michael Mayer didn't even play in the preseason game. He's either already hurt or they're resting him so he doesn't get hurt.
We'll see 10 minutes into the first game, okay?
But the week 2 is against the Jets. This is back in Dallas. We already picked this. We both picked the Jets because Aaron Rodgers' career record is, I believe, unblemished against the Cowboys. I know that was all with Green Bay, but
I mean, if you stack these two teams against each other, and especially with the signing today, I know it's not that big, but you give them Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook and Aaron Rodgers, even with a bad line, I'll take that against the Cowboys all day.
Yeah, and Garrett Wilson's healthy right now, and I still don't like the Cowboys secondary.
I also don't like
So,
Mike McCarthy calling plays.
yeah, it might be good for Pollard.
Yeah, that might be about it. But if it comes down to a 2-minute drill with Dak and Mike McCarthy, I'm not taking that team.
Yeah. Anyway, so we both took the Jets, and that's why we already covered that just now. Week 3, though, I will finally jump on the Cowboys winning here because they are playing Arizona in Arizona.
The worst team in football, maybe all of U.S. sports right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's a worse team in the NFL than the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if I'll give them a win this year. I really don't.
They honestly are competing with the other Arizona team, the Coyotes, for worst franchises in sports.
Yeah, poor Coyotes, man. Where players' careers go to die. Oh, before we get too into it, we didn't get to cover it last week because we weren't live. Bergeron retired, and then today Krejci retired. So fuck me as a Bruins fan.
They had good careers, though. I mean,
I know it's just been a rough week. I'm like, well, there's our line 1 and line 2 center gone.
I mean, I guess that's kind of like that's the toughest part for these guys, right? Is knowing when to go.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked Krejci went because he actually looked pretty good this year and stayed healthy. I wasn't shocked Bergeron retired. He, like you said, it was definitely time to go.
Well, and if you're talking about punishing sports, you're talking about one of the worst when it comes to your body.
And he's one of the most defensive forwards we've ever seen, so he's taken a lot of punishment.
You take a lot of punishment and play through a lot of bad injuries because that's the way the NHL works. Like you don't get to. I mean, I hate to keep going back to it, but Matthew Tkachuk played a NHL Stanley Cup playoff game with a broken sternum.
Yep.
Like, okay, we get it. You're tough. You have to sit out the next one though. It's like, well, we're gonna if I don't play, we lose. So I got to play at least one, and then he had to sit. So it was like, the NFL is punishing. Don't get me wrong, but they don't play through some of the injuries these other guys play through. They play through some injuries, but hockey players play through the worst of injuries.
Yeah,
broken bones.
All right, now back to our picks, so we don't hold people up. Week 4, we picked this already. Patriots, Cowboys. You picked the Cowboys, and I took the Pats. I don't know why I took the Pats. I'm not 100% sure.
It's a win. It's a win-win for me, right? Either the Pats win and I lose that bet, or the Cowboys win and I win that piece.
Yeah, I don't know why I took the Pats. I don't know. I do think the Pats are a lot better than people are giving them credit for, but Dallas is still a pretty decent team, so I'm not 100% sure why I took them. But anyway, so to week 5 we go, and it's at San Francisco.
I know who I'm taking here. I don't care who's the quarterback for San Francisco at this time. I'm taking San Francisco.
I'm a little worried about San Francisco.
Listen, if Brock Purdy sucks, Sam Darnold's going to play, and he's probably as good as Dak.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand why Colin Cowherd's shitting on Trey Lance. Trey Lance had a shit game, but
Did you see the allegation by somebody on Twitter?
No.
That they're purposely trying to make Trey Lance look good, but inadvertently making him look worse. In the preseason game, Trey Lance had 20 dropbacks, 7 handoffs. Sam Darnold had 8 dropbacks, 9 handoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. He was 10 for 15 for 115 yards. So I didn't see. Whoa. Sorry, Tesco just brought this up. Alex Collins just passed away. Literally just passed away.
The running back?
Yeah. 5 minutes ago it was announced. No, 20 minutes ago. The Ravens announced it.
The Baltimore Ravens announced it.
or at least were one of the first. Yeah, they were before the NFL and even Arkansas, which is where he went to college. He was a great Raven for a year and a half.
It doesn't say why, but
damn, that's sad. Thanks for the news, Tesco. That's tragic. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's crazy. Well, rest in peace to Alex Collins. But I don't know. Colin Cowherd was shitting on Trey Lance. He was also shitting on Jordan Love's game, and then he fucking was raving about Justin Fields' game, and I don't understand how you can do all three of those things in one episode. But Justin Fields literally threw 125 yards. I get it, but he threw the screen pass he threw to DJ Moore. DJ turned into a 78-yard touchdown, and then he threw a 3-yard pass to Justin Herbert, or not Justin Herbert, Khalil Herbert, who then took that for 28 yards. So, like,
understandably, it's yards after catch. But if you look at what they've tried to make him do with what he's had, it's finally good to see them making offensive.
Oh, I agree, but
that
like,
makes sense.
Colin was like, "Oh, he might be on his 4,000-yard mark. He might actually do it this year." Based on what, dude? 2 screen passes or a screen pass and a 4-yard dump? Like, you got to actually. I need to see him throw the ball down the field.
It still counts if you throw.
I know.
The yards through the air is a different stat, but the yards still count no matter which guy takes it to the house.
But we need to see him do it down the field. Otherwise, he's going to start to look bad if people start playing all up on the line.
Or
and that's what
he drops him in and then beats him with his legs.
His legs are dirty. Yeah. And if he can stay healthy, because that's another massive.
Yeah, just don't be taking those massive sacks you've been taking or those huge hits when you're running the ball.
Do you play sports? We don't. I don't anymore because I'm old and my bones creak. But I used to play sports all the time.
Does golf
Dot
count?
used to be a hockey player. I used to be a baseball player. Does golf count? Yeah, he plays golf.
Yeah, the only thing I do now really is golf.
I do esports, but not professionally.
Occasionally, I will go skate again, but not that often.
I don't know. I've thought about getting into a baseball league now that I'm back up in my own hometown. Get into like a, baseball league for older people. Like,
yeah, I played men's league softball up until about 2 years ago, and then it takes up so much time of my summer that I just wanted to golf more. I was just like, enough.
Golf? No, you're just a stud hitting balls. That's all you are, Doc.
Human fetch. Thank you. And there's 3 things you need to know about golf. 1, you don't have to be good at it to enjoy it. 2, it's a great drinking game. And 3, it's the only place you can drink and drive legally. Just take an Uber home.
But no, I'm thinking about playing some adult league baseball, not softball. I want to find a baseball league. I really miss baseball, but maybe it'll help with my psoriatic arthritis, and I won't creak as much as I do when I walk around.
Listen,
when I walk up and down steps,
if you lubricate your joints while you're doing it via alcohol, it works.
Wait, why did I put?
You just pay for it later.
All right, I'm going to take a gamble here. I'm taking the Cowboys over the Niners.
I don't actually think that's necessarily a bad pick. Just
it's Sunday football again
now,
somehow,
because it's in San Francisco. I would take San Francisco.
And I know it's preseason, and I know they were just the reserves and backups, the second string players and shit. But the way the Niners defense got destroyed by the Raiders has me wondering if anyone gets hurt, if they're deep enough to be relevant.
Bro, have you looked at that depth chart? Those are like the guys that are playing are not.
Yeah, but that secondary behind their 2 starting corners is a nightmare. Like, they're great up front, but that secondary is terrible behind their starters.
Yeah, but we both know how San Francisco plays the game. You get scared going to play them each week because of how just like the Eagles, how physical the Eagles are. They take an injury. Well, they're going to injure a bunch of your guys during the game.
I do not remember the toe combo. I know. I mean, look, it's a big risk taking. Like I said, picking against the Niners is hard at all. But I have to start to have some doubts because I can't believe a team is as good as I think they are. or I'm gonna have them at 18-0. So I got to give them a couple occasional losses this season, and I'll give it to the Cowboys in prime time. Why not? Fuck it. And then the next week, Cowboys go to the Niners and the Chargers again, prime time. Jesus Christ, Dallas is being shoved down our throats.
Dallas, the next Denver, you know.
We both took the Chargers here. I don't even have to look. I remember this.
I mean, I don't really regret making that pick.
No, me either. I think they're a more complete team, top to bottom, and their quarterback is not even close to. Dak's not even close to Herbert.
Listen, so. I know a lot of people shit on Dak. Dak is a top half of the NFL quarterback, which is still amazing. But they're like the elite is the top 5. So if you're 12, you're a bit above average. And if he can bring the interceptions down and not be considered just a garbage time quarterback, well then good. You move to like 10. But like you're kind of in the Kirk Cousins discussion. That's where he is.
And I do wonder, I'm not going to lie, I do wonder if one thing happens to CeeDee Lamb if they have any type of offense.
Oh, by the way, the best 2 years Dak ever had at quarterback, Zeke Elliott was the champion of running in the NFL.
Yeah, both years that he was great, Zeke was the King Henry basically at the time. But anyway, we go to a bye for the Cowboys, and then they stay at home after their bye and play the Rams.
Sorry, just to go back to what the game we were just talking about. Your offensive coordinator now is for that team.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
So, yeah, now if you don't change things up a lot, he knows your plays.
Yeah.
Okay, so move off the Chargers. Rams, horrible. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah, same. I know Kupp got hurt, but he's okay. I've heard that it was a scare. He'll be okay for the season.
I mean, did you hear the Rams coach after the game?
Sean McVay, no.
Yeah, he goes, we need to find depth at our lines fast.
We've been telling you that for the weeks. What did you think years? What did you think last year?
Yeah, you have Aaron Donald and what else?
Yeah, and
I think the Rams will win some games they probably shouldn't, based on the fact that they have Matt Stafford and he's a pretty damn good quarterback. But defensively, they're going to be horrible.
Well, who do you have at running back? You still have fucking. I just literally thought of his name and then it went out of my head.
Cam Akers.
Cam Akers is your running back, and then what do you have at wide receiver? You have Cooper Kupp, who is still nursing this hamstring. They thought he'd be back this week. They just announced he's still not ready for this week's practice. So you have Kupp already coming back into another season injured after a season injury last year. Like you said, he even said we need to find depth at your line. Dude, your offensive line doesn't even have depth in the starters. The starters are terrible.
Right. You have one injury or two injuries, and you are in implosion mode. Like,
there was no doubt in my mind who I was taking in this game just because the Rams, you have Aaron Donald. Yeah, you have Stafford. Yeah, you have Kupp. But besides those three big pieces, you have almost nothing.
Yeah,
so,
I just don't see it.
They sold their soul for a Super Bowl, and they're here.
You got it, right?
All right, November 5th is the next game for the Cowboys, and it's against the Eagles, not in prime time, shockingly enough.
I can't believe that's not a prime time. Of all the prime time games you've had, that's not a prime time game?
I know.
I guess 425 is what? Normally 3 to 4 games?
Yeah, it's game of the week. It's what Fox calls the game of the week. So
it's not like a standalone game, but it's prime time enough to be like, hey, big matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be on every channel unless you literally where I live, if the Commanders are playing, the Commanders will be on TV, unfortunately. But
enjoy watching that game.
Hopefully they won't be. I mean, I'll have Red Zone on anyway. I don't know why I act like I watch individual games. But anyway, Eagles Cowboys in Philly. I'm going Philly.
Yeah,
that defense is too punishing.
I think in Philly really sells it here, right? So yeah. I would say Philly for sure. The one with Dallas will get a little more question from me, but yeah, Philly all day in this game. The matchup could be better than I think, but Philly here for sure.
All right. And the next game is the Giants in New York. I mean, in Dallas, sorry, this time. I know you took them the first time. Are you doing it again?
Yeah, I just have a grudge against the Giants, being a Pats fan.
Yeah, I mean, I would too, to be honest. Actually, you know what? I do too. They constantly eliminate the Packers from the playoffs. Them and the Niners are like our kryptonite. So,
So yes, this is one where my bias is coming through because I think the Giants have a shot at splitting it with them, but I'm going to take the Cowboys here.
this is where I take the Cowboys as well. I do think the Giants win at home, but this is in Dallas, so I will go with Dallas.
You mean Jerry's world?
Yeah, up and down in Jerry's crazy world. All right. The next week is a very intriguing one, and I know a lot of people are going to sleep on this one, but I really like this team, and I've heard a lot of good things out of the little-headed small man.
He's a big
Bryce Young,
small man.
big-headed small man. Sorry, he literally looks like a bobblehead running around a football field. But I've heard good things, and I saw some good things. I really like what the Panthers are showing. But here we go, Cowboys, Panthers in Carolina.
This is one where I had to think about it and kind of talk myself out of picking the Panthers just because I'm like, oh, they're just kind of in your head because first round draft pick. I'm taking the Cowboys here 100%. Like, I think the Panthers are good enough to win their division if things go right.
Philly all day. Future Packers. Yeah, sorry, I just saw that. How bad we are against the Giants and Niners in the playoffs is hurting.
I love that one for you because it was aimed at you. I saw it and I chuckled, and I'm just like, I'll let Matt.
Thanks, Faye. Appreciate it. Yeah, no, I was updating the spreadsheet to the Giants picks. I was adding what we picked with the Cowboys in the Giants group. So, look, this game is hard for me because I think the Panthers are actually taking big strides. They might be the most improved team. Actually, I can't even say that. They were literally almost a playoff team last year. But I think they're taking positive strides. I love the coach. I love Frank Reich being there. I think they're moving forward in the right way, but I'm taking Dallas here because when I think about it, Carolina, no matter how good Bryce Young winds up being right off the bat, Carolina does not have receivers good enough to challenge the corners that Dallas doesn't have the greatest corners, but they're good enough to handle an aging Adam Thielen and whatever else Carolina throws at them. So
all I see when I look at this matchup is like a Final Destination cutscene where Micah Parsons gets free and gets a hold of Bryce Young.
And murders Bryce Young, just cut in half.
Like, I just like every time I think about it, I'm like, if that monster gets through untouched and he gets anywhere near this quarterback, that quarterback is going to feel like a piece of tissue paper to him.
I can't think of the other guy's name, but they had another guy that really showed some impressive shit this year in the preseason game they played.
You're talking about the Panthers?
No, the Cowboys on their defensive line. I can't think of who it was, but they looked so unstoppable. But I don't remember
on the D line.
Either that or outside linebacker. I might have been Overshawn.
I was going to say DeMarvion Overshawn.
I think it's DeMarvion Overshawn. Somebody had just lightning speed on the outside. And I was like, dude, if he can play next to Parsons, that could be deadly. And I just don't remember who it was. I was watching that Jags game with intrigue, though, because
the Fort Worth Telegram has an article out that says the best is yet to come for Cowboys linebacker DeMarvion Overshawn 5 days ago.
There you go. Probably him then.
Has Micah Parsons as a mentor and Dan Quinn as a coach.
Yeah. And then that Jaguars fucking backup third string quarterback was breaking tackles left and right and making beautiful plays. And he's an XFL guy. So I was like, hope he gets a shot as a backup. That'd be cool. But
kind of what you hope the XFL does, right? It feeds the league.
Yeah. All right. So we got the Commanders next. I'm not even going to think about this one.
Yeah, I don't have to either.
Though I did like what I saw out of Sam Howell. I don't think this team's close, even if they have a decent quarterback. Like he could be the 20th best in the league, and I still don't think the Commanders have enough.
Well, I just also yes, they have new ownership, but players being like, I don't like how the coach talks to me. Just sounds like we need to reset some of these players on what coaching actually is.
Right? It's who did they not like? Eric Bieniemy.
Bieniemy, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, how are they so sensitive about Bieniemy? You have Jack Del Rio and Riverboat Ron as your fucking like, how is Bieniemy the one that's upsetting you? Since when was Jack Del Rio a nice guy?
Well, he yells at us a lot. Hey, here's an idea. Suck less.
Yeah, I mean, he's the offensive coordinator, and that offense has been a train wreck. So I don't know.
Sometimes if it just doesn't get through the nice way, you got to use a little bit harsher criticism to get to people. And
that when you're used to
rise,
think about who he's used to. He's used to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, I win Super Bowls. What have you guys done?
Right? Like,
and okay, he might not be the reason because obviously Patrick Mahomes is a great reason. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Jones, great reasons. But guess what? I was on that team and nobody said a word about the way I coached.
Yeah. No, that was crazy to me when I heard that story. All right, the next game is another prime time because that actually counts as a prime time on Thursday because that was Thanksgiving. So now we get another one. It's another Thursday night, so they get back-to-back Thursday night games or Thursday games. Seattle in Dallas.
In Dallas. Ooh. God, that makes it tough. My first instinct was to say Seattle right off the rip. I think I'm going to stick with it.
I'm 100% sticking with it. I think this will be a shootout offensively, and when it comes down to it,
firepower.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, Trayvon Diggs isn't able to stop DK Metcalf one-on-one, in my opinion, anyway. And then you have Tyler Lockett and Jackson Smith running around the other side. There's just too much.
And I trust Geno more than I trust Dak. By far.
And the kid, the running back, Charbonnet, I don't know if anyone watched the preseason game, and I understand it's preseason, so you can't look too much into the stats, which is what I tell people. Don't look too much into the stats. Look at what you see on the field. He was fucking bowling people over.
You don't look at stats in the preseason. You look at guys who stand out. That guy, when you see what he did to people, even if they're second and third team, you go, oh, he's first team.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not because think about who's ahead of him.
Right. You just look at it and go, oh, he's a first team player. He's not a second team player. He's just slotted in there. So it's like, oh, they have depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Charbonnet, and he's a rookie, so he's going to be hungry.
Oh, yeah.
He just bowled people over, man. I was like, holy, he reminded me of Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, holy
not a bad
crap.
Comparison, actually.
So, yeah, I'll go Seattle here. I think they're just a deeper team. I think they're more complete. I think Dallas, yeah, they have Dak. I love Tony Pollard, and I do think that CeeDee Lamb is going to have a decent game, but Trey Woolen's no freaking joke. So,
no. Tariq Woolen?
Yeah, Tariq Woolen, sorry. He's going to be a monster. And then they drafted that other kid to the outside. Seattle might be a really surprising team this year. All right, and then they go Philly again. Oh, my God, 3 straight primetime games because this is also primetime Sunday Night Football.
They have Devin Witherspoon. That's who they got.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That they might be one of the youngest duos in the league, but good luck throwing the ball against those guys.
Yeah, and then think about who they have. And I'm not a fan, but the fact that they have, what's the safety's name? What's his name is coming back from injury.
Oh,
Jamal Adams.
Yes, Jamal Adams.
And then they still have Kobe Bryant, Quandre Diggs, and Julian Love at safety as well. Like they've got this team is just so deep.
I think the only place they're not like kind of jumping off the charts is that D line.
That D line is terrible. It's so bad.
So I guess if you're gonna run the ball against them, you got a shot. So Pollard better have a monster game because otherwise, I don't see how. I know Dallas has a pretty good defense, but they have so many weapons.
Yeah.
They're building a team, and they got all those draft picks for Russell Wilson, so they won that trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that offensive line looks really. I mean, that Seattle offensive line is young and hungry, and they played really well last year. So Micah Parsons isn't going to have a feast on Geno. He's going to have to work. So
just think about this. I know we're talking at the East here, but so they got Devin Witherspoon, Smith and Jigba, outside linebacker Derek Hall from Auburn, and Zach Charbonnet. Those are the 2 first-rounders and the 2 second-rounders they got, essentially, and then a 4th rounder, which they picked guard Anthony Bradford from LSU for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That was the trade.
Yeah. They won that trade.
I mean,
Russell's looking all right, but they won the trade.
There's news that Russell isn't even going to look good this season. They're saying he's struggling to fit into the system.
And they got, what's his name? Noah Fant. Not that they used him much, but they also got Noah Fant in that deal.
Right. So they also just took that away from Denver and got that. So we'll see if they use him this year.
Anyway, to the next week we go. December 10th. It's Sunday night football. And it's the Eagles.
And again, I'm taking the Eagles here.
This is in Dallas, so it's a little harder for me. But
I think this one's closer. This will be more like the first time they played last year when they were at the Eagles, they got blown out. When they were at home, it was closer game. It was like a touchdown game, like 19-12, something like that.
You know what?
So I think it's closer, but I think the Eagles just kind of assert their dominance here. From what I hear out of camp is that Jalen Hurts is still improving.
Yeah, I don't know how that's possible, but yeah,
which doesn't make sense. But okay, I'll take it because that's kind of what you want to see out of like Lamar Jackson, and they're saying that Jalen Hurts is actually doing it.
And the running back room is a nightmare, but everything else works for them. So who gives a shit?
And okay, if your running back room sucks, well, you still have Jalen Hurts.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter. The following week is a 425 game, which I tell you right now, the NFL will try and flex if they can. December 17th at Buffalo. We already took this and we both took the Bills.
In Buffalo.
December in Buffalo with an indoor dome team. No thanks. I'm going to roll with Buffalo.
Yeah, Pollard might have a good game here because that's probably the game it's going to turn out to be. But Buffalo can still throw the ball when it's cold.
Yeah, Josh Allen might throw interceptions in the red zone, but that dude does not care if it's cold. He can throw the ball 60 yards down the field, no problemo.
Yeah. So good luck with that. You got to. That's Diggs on Diggs action too. Ooh.
Yeah, that's brother versus brother. I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, that's actually. I just thought about that. I'm like, that's Digception. Let's go.
Yeah, that'll be really fun to watch. To be honest,
can you imagine if he actually gets an interception against his? It'd be like Digception. Yeah.
I know they did that in the Pro Bowl, like they face each other, but it's the Pro Bowl, so I could give 2 fucks less.
I'd rather watch them play in the preseason than in the Pro Bowl.
Exactly. All right, so the next week we also picked, it's at Miami, Christmas Eve, and you took the Cowboys. I took the Dolphins. 100% had to have taken the Dolphins, assuming Tua will still be healthy. Granted, I'm hearing Tua looks terrible.
That's what I've heard too. I'm like, I hear they're fluffing him. Essentially, they're writing fluff pieces to make him feel better. But I have heard not good news. Like he's not the same player, and that's what happens with concussions, dude. You may not come back.
Yeah, I've heard he looks scared. He looks quick to release. He doesn't look like he's waiting for plays to develop. I
hate to even compare it. But Antonio Brown was never the same after that hit. After
Vontaze Burfict took his head off?
He was not the same person.
Yeah.
Mentally, he was not. And that's what happens when you have trauma to the brain is things go a little haywire. So if I'm worried about it, I hope nothing happens. I would love to see him healthy. Even with him healthy, this is a tough game.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm switching my pick. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing good out of Miami this week. I've heard the secondary kind of looks a little lost because they really thought Jalen Ramsey was going to be the guy. Without him, they've looked weak. Nothing confident right now out of Miami, so I'm not jumping on board. And I've heard the running backs don't look like they're doing much. Okay, let me rephrase. I heard the report that the running backs look fast, but you already had the 2 fastest running backs, so weird to see Dolly Parton advertising the Olympics in Paris next year. Sorry, that was very confusing.
She's just kind of like, an idol for everybody. She's like a librarian for kids and puts kids through school. She's just an idol. She's a world treasure, and with enough plastic put in her, she will also be probably like the 9th wonder of the world or something eventually.
The Euros are next summer in soccer, so that'll be interesting to see how they compete, unless they're different times. I don't know. But anyway, so here we go to another primetime game. It's a Saturday night game, week 17 for the Cowboys. This is in Detroit, in Motor City. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go Lions.
I think it's tough, but I'm going the other way. I'm going Dallas here.
If this was in Dallas, I would 100% jump on board, but I'm trying to find balance here because I don't know what I feel about the Cowboys 100%. Like, I know they have the pieces to have some of these close games go their way, and a close game would mean Detroit chokes it away in Detroit fashion, so I'm a little nervous taking the Lions here. But, yeah, I'll go Lions. What you got on the Cowboys for this one? Jamison Williams will be back. Not that he looks good. Like you said, the reports are that he's dropping balls like crazy right now.
Actually, since then, I've heard that he rebounded. His practices have gotten a lot better.
Okay, good.
Especially, I guess he had a conversation with a couple people about what was going on and his conduct and things like that, and he kind of settled down and kind of put his nose to the grindstone. So I've heard since then he's actually looked really good, which is a huge plus that a guy can take some criticism and try to learn from being what would be conceived on an NFL team as a little immature. So I hear good things there. I may be overplaying Dallas's hand here. I think they're good enough to win this game. I'm not quite certain they win this game. This was one of the harder picks for me, but I think if they're pushing down the stretch for a better playoff spot, I think they can win this game.
On the counter, remember Detroit might be pushing for a playoff spot too.
Oh, I also weighed that. I
think Dallas is a good pick too. This is like you said, a close game.
And this is what infuriates me about Kansas City is like the Chris Jones thing. Somebody like Micah Parsons, you don't pay him for the season. You pay him for 3 big moments that win you games. If you Jones in Kansas City, outside of Mahomes and Kelsey, and maybe even above Kelsey, is more important to that team because if he doesn't get the key sack that makes it a 3rd and long in a 4-minute game, you don't win that game. And Micah Parsons is that dude.
He's also 100% the leader of that defense.
Oh, absolutely. So if you 100%. Treat him like that, how does the rest of the defense feel?
Yeah.
So that's my thing is I think it comes like if I took Goff and Dak, I'd take Goff personally. I would take Goff.
I would take Goff. I think Goff's way underrated. I love Goff.
I think overall, Lions probably have the better wide receivers. I think the Dallas defense is better.
Yeah.
And if Pollard has what I think he's going to do, he's the best running back on those 2 teams. So
I'm tight between him and Jahmyr Gibbs. I am tight.
It's questionable. I got to see Gibbs first.
That's what I'm saying. It's tight for me because I love Pollard, but I do worry about a very aging, deteriorating offensive line in front of him. That does concern me a bit.
That's why Martin signing and getting him happy is huge for this team.
Yeah, because even though he's 33, he hasn't shown a single moment of slowing down. So.
I think 9 seasons, 6 Pro Bowls, 6 first teams
not that it matters, but he's never been below a 94 in Madden. The guy
he never gets hurt.
Yeah,
that's availability is huge in the NFL. He never gets hurt. We're gonna say that now. Watch, he's just signed this contract.
He is a Notre Dame player. He is due. He's due to miss 2 seasons at least with all the games he hasn't missed. So All right.
Darlene's gonna come in fire, and you watch.
The final week of the season, I already wrote your pick. I don't really know why I wouldn't, but you can change it if you want. But Cowboys at Commanders.
I got no faith in the last remnants of what's his face there, the old owner, Dan Snyder. This is Dan Snyder's like Viking burial.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just have none, and
it's a Viking burial on a yacht in the French Riviera with $7 extra billion, but it's a Viking burial nonetheless.
And I think Ron Rivera's final game
I
as
think
a
this
coach
is his
too.
last. I think the Bieniemy thing was the setup.
Potentially, the new owners didn't have anything to do with it, so I don't know. And
I think if they need time to decide, he's the Band-Aid.
And Bieniemy unfortunately does have a criminal record past, and they might try and step away from that with what Dan Snyder and.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's an easy fire. If he's the Band-Aid for another year, if like Ron Rivera's had health issues, things like that. One more bad season, I think they might say, okay, bye. If they don't hire somebody they find, and they maybe have somebody a year out, Bieniemy is the Band-Aid. Because you can fire him the next year.
Ron does turn 62 this year. This might just be, if he gets let go, he might just be retiring. Yeah.
I mean, he's got kids, so it's one of those things with coaches. Like these guys who are NFL coaches, they spend more time with the team than they do with their own families.
Yep.
So it may be, especially with his health history, he may just say, "Look, it's time."
Yeah, cancer survivor, man. Ron Rivera is a legend, but it is time, in my opinion. He was a great football player. He's a great coach. You've given your entire life to this game, literally. We played as a football player through.
I told you it was coming.
Yes, it does. They got to add him up. So he's been healthy
it carries over. It's mathematics.
He tore his ACL his age 25 season, so one season he missed, and he's been healthy literally every game otherwise. So he's got to make up all those other games.
He banked some though with the one season missed.
Yeah.
So there's some negative carryover there too, you know.
All right, so we finished the Cowboys. I honestly think they finished better than this before a Cowboys fan jumps down my throat. But there are some toss-up games like Seattle, Detroit, the Patriots. So
I think I have them at like 10-7 or 11-6.
You indeed have them 10-7. I have them 8-9. I do think they finished better than 8-9. I think 9-8. I'd be happier, but
I think they may, in my opinion, above my expectation. I would go one more game. I think 11-6 is fairly realistic for them.
Yeah, and like I said, there's games they can go up or down. The only ones I'm confident
where they really outperformed what you would have thought they would have done.
Yeah, and the only game I'm really confident in them is the Bills in December. Like that's the only one I'm 100% like the Cowboys will lose this game. Everything else, they could see them winning it.
Anything in division, they play tough. So the Eagles, even though they're Eagles, and everybody's high on the Eagles are playing a first-place schedule this year. They played a terrible schedule last year, so I think the Eagles come back to earth a little bit.
Actually, you know what? No, good call. I'm going to go Cowboys for the Eagles game in Dallas. I will give them that one because I do worry about the Eagles regardless of Jalen because of new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. Yeah. I do worry about all that.
I actually didn't weigh that in the Eagles game, and that might be one they actually win. I'm going to leave it where it is for now, but we'll get there when we see a couple games.
So I'll give them 9-8 because, like I said, I feel like that's where I have them mentally. I know they'll win some of these closer games and pull out some shit, but I also just think this offensive line aging, Dak might throw more interceptions this year. He might face a lot more pressure.
He's throwing less than 10.
I know. He claims that he's throwing.
Give me 1 second. I got a dog at the door.
Sounds good. He's a fucking nut job. All right, so for those who haven't, while we wait to figure out what team in the division we go to next, for those who didn't catch the preseason stuff that has happened, Jordan Love looked good. I know Colin Cowherd claims they were just easy throws and whatnot, but he hit some shit to Romeo Dobbs that made me confident about that. He started to actually show some run pass option availability, which we didn't have. And as in the words of David Bakhtiari, who is our best left tackle and one of the best in the league, David Bakhtiari said that we, the offensive line, have asked for some run pass option because we didn't have that in the past because Aaron is slow as shit. And Jordan actually brings athleticism to the division. So I mean, to the team. So loved hearing that. Loved hearing that the offensive line is like, let's get our guy running. I'm a big fan. And Baker looked pretty damn good for a preseason game. It's preseason. He doesn't look great on the practice field, but he looked good in the preseason game. Desmond Ridder didn't play, which shocked the shit out of me in Atlanta. I thought you would try and get max reps. Kind of confused the crap out of me. Arizona has a legit quarterback battle for the backup in behind Kyler between Colt McCoy and Carson Tune. I think Carson Tune's interception might have hurt him a little bit for the backup role, but Colt McCoy is a little older and doesn't have the mobility. So I do think that could come into play because Carson Tune can run. Clayton Tune, sorry. And Russell looked okay in the preseason, but again, just like Baker, hasn't looked good on the practice field. So I don't know what to make of it. And welcome back.
Yeah.
And Justin Tucker and preseason's out there kicking 60-yard bombs. I don't know.
Again, probably the most underrated position player there is for a guy. Like, again, when you just have that supreme confidence, think about all the teams who lose games when their kicker misses a 34-yarder to win.
Yeah.
So, it's strange, but honestly, you could make the argument that on his team, he's more important than who the running back is.
Yeah, which, by the way, they're getting close to finalizing a deal to pay Dobbins some good money, and I don't know why.
Make him run. Make him stay healthy.
That's what I'm saying. I need to see a season before I go, hey, I'm going to pay this guy a ass and an elbow. Like, fucking Christ.
I feel better about them paying Odell than I do about that.
Yeah, because you have Gus Edwards, and Justice Hill looked really good as your number 3. And he's young. I don't know.
I come from Patriots world where the system is we have 3 of you and you rotate out.
Yep, and I think that's what the Ravens should be doing anyway behind Lamar. But all right, so who do you want to go to next in the NFC East?
NFC East. Let's go. Let's go with my home state team, the New York Football Giants.
Sweet. That's actually who is next on my list anyway. All right. Well, week 1, we already have it. Giants Cowboys in New York on Sunday Night Football. I took the Giants. He took the Cowboys. So we're good there. And then we get rolling. Week 2 at Arizona.
Pencil me in. New York.
Oh, I thought you were saying pencil. I was like, are you going to change it potentially later and take the Cardinals? Like, are you crazy?
No.
All right. Yeah, Cowboys. I mean, Giants. Sorry, Giants all the way.
I mean, Arizona may not be the happiest, but he might take his anger out on Arizona.
Yeah, and the fact that there's no quarterback play, like the quarterback situation in Arizona is so bad, and the running back room and the wide receivers, it's just so easy.
The lines, the defense, the coaches. I mean, it's all. Who was it? Was it one of the Eagles coaches went here?
Yeah, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Hang on, bro. You're gonna have a 1-year free pass.
Hopefully, they give him 2 years because this team's far out.
They may be in the running for Caleb Williams, and they might take
honestly, that might be the most exciting situation, though, if you think about it. Like, Caleb Williams being available for them makes the entire Kyler Murray situation really intriguing. Because he's getting paid way too much to be like, all right, you're our backup now. And he's not a mentor guy. So
he'll be over there on the sideline if he's the backup with his tablet out playing COD Mobile. What? Bro, like the only as weird as it sounds, the only other team I can think of that might try to be a bottom team without really trying to be a bottom team might be the Buccaneers. They have all the other pieces, all of them. All the other pieces.
Could you imagine if the Bucs actually got someone like Kuhn or May?
just hear me out. The offense the entire year is Baker Mayfield just trying to get Mike Evans 1,000 yards. That's it. No other plays. Just every play, Mike Evans.
I mean, they honestly, the thing about the Bucs is like the league has gotten better. So besides like Arizona, a 4-win team could be the second pick.
And you could trade up to the number 1. Be like, you already have Kyler Murray. We need Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Drake May is just almost as good. Almost as good.
True. So, yeah.
You don't have to give up too much.
Yeah,
but
if you don't
either
have to
way,
give up anything just to be second pick, then yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, Tampa's really intriguing. We're going to pick them next week with the North, and we'll see how that goes for the Bucs because I don't know their schedule off the top of hand.
This is that whole Band-Aid I was talking about, like with Bieniemy. It's like, Baker, you just need to go in there and suck like you normally do, and we'll be fine. Do it.
It's a 1-year deal for a reason. So, all right, week 3. I don't feel like I have to wait for your pick here. The Giants go to San Francisco.
Nope.
I'm also joining you on. Wait, what am I doing?
That's on my birthday.
It was on your birthday.
Oh, yeah, I get a present. The 49ers just smashing the Giants in the mouth, hopefully.
On Thursday Night Football. On
That's
prime
right.
time. All right. Well, they come back from their West Coast road trip of Arizona and then San Francisco on a short week. That kind of sucks. I guess they'll just stay out there. And they get to play Seattle in New York. This is a tough schedule. This is a really nasty schedule.
I just want you to know that right now the Giants are a 2-point favorite.
On Seattle?
And the pick'em is 58% in favor of New York.
My app doesn't show favorites for that game.
I call bullshit, and I'm taking Seattle.
I'm also taking the Seahawks, and I know a lot of people will say, it's not even. It's a Monday night game. I was going to say it's an early game on West Coast to East Coast, but I was going to say that doesn't really matter because Pete Carroll has a fucking incredible record.
I was going to say Seattle travels really well. They have
Pete Carroll.
You have to think, if you play in your own home stadium with that type of noise, it really doesn't matter where you go. Even if they're not doing it during your offense, you get used to it.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. But we're both taking the Seahawks. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like root for the Giants this year because I really liked Brian Daboll. I think Daniel Jones is extremely underrated, but there's just nothing here. Seattle's too good everywhere, except for the defensive line. They're great everywhere. The Giants really aren't great anywhere. So
the Giants' only shot in that game is letting Saquon run wild and keeping the Seattle offense off the field.
Yeah, it could be a close game, but I have Seattle.
I think people are underselling Seattle. Like it can't happen 2 years in a row, and I'm like, yeah, it can.
Yeah. All right. Next week we have the next 2 weeks picked. It's at Miami and at Buffalo. Man, they're on the road 4 out of the first 6 weeks. And we both took the Dolphins and Bills respectively back to back. I'm a little less confident, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go back and change my Giants pick here. I'm taking the Dolphins. I mean the Giants over the Dolphins. I took the Dolphins. I'm gonna go with the Giants here. I think that the more I've seen of Jalen Hyatt and the more I've seen out of the combination of tight ends in New York, I think they can be a problem for the Miami defense, and I still just don't know if Tua can keep up if this offense runs wild. So I'm gonna roll with the Giants here. That and I gotta pick the Giants every now and then because right now it doesn't look pretty because up ahead we don't have them at all in the games we've picked. But anyway, I'm assuming you're sticking put with the Dolphins, and then the following week is at Buffalo.
Yeah,
again somehow. Primetime game. Why are we getting 4 Giants primetime games already?
New York pays, baby.
But Giants at Buffalo. Yeah, we're not crazy, so we took the Bills. Well, we're crazy, but we're not that crazy. The following week is back in New York against the Commanders, and I'm going Giants.
Yeah, I was gonna say count the Giants for a win there. I think
I've got to
Washington's
pick the
also.
Commanders sometime, but when I get to their schedule, I'll see when. But right now, I think they're one of the bottom 4 teams.
Yeah, I think they're in the running for those top 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah. Granted, Sam Howell, like I said, it's preseason, so it's hard to judge. I need to see consistently. Sam Howell did show me some promise, but again, preseason. So
Who was their guy last year that we saw a bunch? He won a couple games and then just became a dumpster fire.
Taylor Heineke.
Yes, Heineke.
I've never been a fan of his. I've never jumped on that.
Listen, Tim Tebow won a playoff game, okay? Like that
against a good Steelers team.
That should tell you enough about the NFL, okay? There are going to be some very weird things that happen this season where we're going to be very wrong.
Yep. Yeah. All right, next game for the Giants. We have the Jets winning in the battle of the home stadium, home city, home state. New York
But
Jets,
it's not
New
the
York
home
Giants.
state. It's the Battle of New Jersey.
Well, yeah, they're the New Jersey Giants and the New Jersey Jets.
It's the Battle of East Rutherford, dude.
But we both took the Jets. Aaron Rodgers and company are just a better roster. It's just what it is.
That's how I really gauge these like preseason matchups. I'm just like, go with the better roster now and see what injuries occur, and then we adjust from there.
Yeah, and see who steps up and doesn't step up, like who falls off, and that makes a big difference. But week one
there's also again, you look at last year, and you have to look at it in a microcosm because last year Philly had a easy schedule. Now they're playing a number 1 schedule.
Yeah.
So
I'm also gonna welcome back, Faye. I'm also going to be honest. I'm really curious how when we pick week 1, how similar it's going to be because we still haven't seen anything yet. I'm curious how it's similar to beat all of our picks for week 1.
All of a sudden, we're like, nope, that was wrong. Change that one. Listen, I'm a lot like a scientist. I'm willing to admit when I was 100% wrong and be like, nope, that's not going to work. Okay. So Jets, we had the Jets winning.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I changed this next pick because we picked this without Saquon.
Without Saquon and without Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going Giants here. We picked the Raiders, both of us, but no Josh Jacobs still, and Saquon's
Ship it
back.
the other way. Ship it the other way for now. If Josh Jacobs is back by then, I'll take it, but ship it back to the Giants. Not for me too. I'm like,
Nah, I'm sorry, Raiders, but right now with no Josh Jacobs, you're falling down the train a little bit here.
They're literally similar teams, but if the Raiders have Jacobs, their offensive weapons are just so much better. I would take the Raiders.
Yeah.
But without Jacobs, that offense is going to fall apart.
Yeah, because Michael Mayer will be there, so I'm curious how he plays for the Giants. I'm for the Raiders. And I would like to see what Jimmy G looks like. I'm hoping he plays a little bit in preseason game 2 because I just kind of want to see him in this system. But the next week we both took.
Before we move on, the one thing you could say about Jimmy G is like he got absolutely disrespected by the 49ers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude wasn't allowed to go practice, wasn't given a playbook. They took the name off the back of his jersey. This dude shows up and was just like, yeah, I'll win you games. Because Jimmy G, if you look at his career record, is a winner.
Yep.
He just finds ways to win. So if he can just stay healthy, which is going to be tough playing for the Raiders, the dude can win games. They could be a 500 team easy, maybe a game above with him, but he has to stay healthy.
Yeah, 100%. And I really like Jimmy G, so I just like to see how he fits in this system. He's going to have so many weapons. I'm really curious. Even without Josh Jacobs, I love every other weapon on this team. They're loaded at tight end. They're loaded at wide receiver. Like, why not? So,
if they have Jacobs, this offense, if it didn't roll, I would be pissed just because of the names that are involved.
Yeah, I honestly don't know the running backs, though. I just looked, and it's like Amir Abdullah, and then
why? What? Honestly, if I was them, why wasn't Zeke and Dalvin Cook visiting?
Zamir White, I guess, is their big piece. The kid out of Georgia from last year.
He had flashes, but that would have been one of the teams where I was like, okay, if you can get Zeke for $4 million or Dalvin for hell, even for Dalvin, I'd probably pay $6 million if I was the Raiders to be like, okay.
I guess because you don't want to like make him even more mad and go out and just get a replacement running back because that'll just send more riffs. I guess I don't know.
Well, from what I heard today was that Josh McDaniel came out and said, "Okay, well, I worked in New England. We'll do it by committee without you."
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting they just do it without him. And honestly, if you're Josh Jacobs, you need to listen to Le'Veon Bell. He said it. It was the worst moment of his career, the worst decision of his career is holding out for a season. Just take the paycheck and go.
Year, and Cowherd says the same thing. Show up and play under the tag and prove you're worth it. If you don't show up, you lose money, you lose a year, and then when you come back, you're not the same.
Yep.
Even if you're healthy for a whole year, you do not come back as the same running back because you took an entire year off.
Yep. Yeah. And you're older now. And in the league of running backs, that's a bad thing.
Yeah, if the Raiders are bad, what do? Go draft a running back. Oh, big deal.
Yep, 100%. All right, so the next week is the Giants and Cowboys. We both took the Cowboys here, so then we go on, and it's the Giants at the Commanders. I'm assuming you're going with me here, but I'm taking the Giants.
Yes, this one I think would be closer than the last one.
Yeah.
It'll be a tighter game. It's in Washington, and it's just one of those games that ends up being a tight game that I think the Giants could honestly lose, but I'm taking the Giants for now.
All right, and then the following week is in New York against New England. Your Pats here, and we both took the Pats, and we picked this, and I'm sticking with it. I know it was without Saquon, but I still think the Patriots are just that defense is too good.
This is still one that I'm like, this one might flip later, but let me watch my own team. Like,
yeah, your defense is so good that I'm like, as long as this offense can be top 16, I think top 18 even, I think this defense will take care of it. Like Bill O'Brien, people shit on Bill O'Brien so much, and I don't get it. Like, I know his coaching tenure didn't end well because he made all those dumb trades, but he was made to be GM as well when he wasn't prepped to be, and he was just trying to play the flashy game at the time. Yeah. As a coach, he has been nothing but brilliant. And if people don't remember, he is the guy behind Bryce Young. He is the offensive coordinator that led Bryce Young to brilliance. Like, people need to understand, Bill O'Brien is an offensive genius, and I love him.
And Mac Jones is an Alabama guy.
Yeah. So I love him there. I absolutely love Bill O'Brien behind
I
Bill
think
Belichick.
Mac Jones calms down a little bit on the whole, hey, get me somebody that fucking calls plays for me.
Yeah.
Now that Bill O'Brien's there, so I think like you get happiness in the room, you know?
Yeah.
You get a little more functionality, if you will.
Yeah, because I see people on TikTok all the time. I don't know how Pats fans think Bill O'Brien's going to help. Look what he did in Houston. If you look what he did in Houston as a coach, DeAndre Hopkins, Arian Foster, and Deshaun Watson were all brilliant under Bill O'Brien.
Oh, Bill O'Brien, when he was in his heyday, he was legitimate in Houston.
Yeah.
Until he became GM as well.
Yeah.
That was where the downfall happened. As a coach, he is good. So I think with Bill Belichick at the helm and him being like, I got the offense, kind of like McDaniels did, I got the offense. I mean, you still get a Bill Belichick defense with Judon, who's still rising.
I can't believe Baltimore let him go they didn't want to pay him. I don't.
Bro, he's so disgustingly good.
I don't. Could you imagine if they paid him and he was on this roster with Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith behind him?
Who's going to stop him at that point?
He would be. I just
can't
believe they let him.
Try and double team him. Yeah, good luck. Somebody's coming down the middle to kill your quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know how they let him go.
You're telling me a running back's going to stop Roquan Smith? Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, Baltimore has said before that they don't pay edge rushers because they think they're all replaceable and system guys, kind of like running backs. And I'm like, dude, you guys paid Terrell Suggs for so long because that is a wrong statement. Terrell Suggs proved that edge rushers can change the entire game. I don't understand. I just
Yeah.
don't get it. But I'm happy you guys have Judon. I know we're not talking about the Pats, but I love watching Judon play. And the Pats get enough game time for me to actually see Judon. So, all right. So the Giants get their bye week after the Pats game. And then they face Green Bay in New York on primetime Monday Night Football. And I actually had a hard time with this one because we don't do great against the run. And that always concerns me with Saquon on the team. But in the end, I do think we have the more complete roster, so I'm going with Green Bay, but I think it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah, unfortunately here, I like your roster a lot, but I got to take the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, this could easily change for me as well. Like, I love what I'm hearing about Jordan Love now that I'm actually hearing things, but I need to see it in an actual game. And we'll get to the Packers next week. We pick the NFC North, and I can see how tough our schedule is because I haven't even really looked. I'm just like kind of just trying to keep a monitor on everything preseason right now. So
now with Caesars Sportsbook, it's a 3-point game for the Giants, which makes sense because it's at East Rutherford.
Yeah,
the pick'em is 67% in favor of the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. A lot of the world is hearing all the shit talking from all the big media guys like Colin Cowherd have said Jordan Love is just an average at best quarterback and all this stuff. But I don't know. If you can get the ball to Watson and Dobbs, I don't care how average you are. Those two can do a lot of work. So, and you still have A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones running behind you.
Oh, yeah. So. I think top to bottom, the Packers roster is better. The problem with the Packers roster to me is who's the actual standout. If it's not Jordan Love, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, Sean Clifford ain't it. I know it's preseason, but as a rookie, you can see a lot of things. And he was making jump throws, trying to look like Mahomes. Like at one point, he jumped up in the air and tried to lob something over, which was intercepted. And I was like, "What are you doing, dude? Like you were literally a 6th round pick for a reason. Like just calm down and play football." So if Jordan Love ain't it, I'm real worried about what's behind him. So I can tell you I'm nervous. But I will say I'm happy to watch another year of Jair Alexander. Watching that guy play is a treat. It's like watching Judon for you guys. It just makes me so happy to watch Jair. But anyway, Giants play the Saints the following week. This game is hard just because I don't know what the Saints are. I'll go Giants.
I'm taking the Saints here. That defense, I know Cam Jordan's aging. They just re-signed him. He's a leader on that defense.
Signed that ancient man.
Yeah, they just gave him an extension. What surprised me was, did you see Derek Carr actually took snaps in a preseason game?
Did he really?
Yeah.
I knew Winston looked pretty decent, but I didn't see anything else. Oh, yeah, 6 of 8 for 70 yards and a touchdown. Huh? I mean, this team, I don't know. I really like what I see out of this team. It's hard. I'm just.
I think the Saints are going to be one of those teams that ends up like the Cowboys, where they end up like 12-5, 11-6.
Actually, you know what? This is in New Orleans. I thought this was in Giants. Yeah, I'm going New Orleans.
It's good. They're going to be a team like the Cowboys. They're going to get all these wins, and then they're going to get to the playoffs and get shellacked.
Yeah, I mean, they have a hungry defense, an aging hungry defense, but a hungry defense. I do like their offensive pieces. I really like them actually having a legit quarterback this year. Like, I think Derek Carr is great, and if he doesn't work out, it's not like you're going to a bad backup. Jameis has moments, but if the wide receiver room can just stay healthy, they're fine.
And don't forget, like, Jameis got a bad hand. He got banged up repeatedly, even in his role. So, like, I don't want to give him a pass because of his interceptions, but I give him a pass on that. Dude took a punishment and came back and threw when he had to throw, even if it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that.
All right. The Giants schedule gets a little interesting here because 2 of their last 3 games are against the Eagles, but it's at Philly. I'm going Eagles.
On Christmas.
Oh, on Christmas. I didn't even notice. Yep, on Christmas Day at 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm going
If it
Eagles.
was in New York and they were showing me the tree and the fucking skating rink at Rockefeller Plaza, I might go for the Giants. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking the Eagles the whole way.
All right. The following week is New Year's Eve, where they're at home, which is
Oh, they
weird.
don't even get to party at all during the holidays.
And I guess this is a 1:00 game, so they get to go out and just go to Times Square after. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, we'll be celebrating a victory here. Go Giants!
Yeah, Giants, Rams. You taking Giants?
Yeah.
All right, and then the final week of the season is in New York against the Eagles, and I think the Giants might be playing for a wild card spot here.
Giants are playing everybody. Eagles are playing nobody. This might be a Giants win. I'm not even joking.
That's why I'm taking the Giants. I think this is 100% the Eagles going to be resting starters.
They're going to be like, look, it doesn't matter if we win the game, but the Eagles might have that spite in them too. The problem is that the Eagles, again, they don't have their offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator for last year. So Steichen and Hurts, they say is making progression, but is he making the same progression that he made last year? That's the difference. Like, that's the comparison.
And is the offense actually still going to run as smooth, even if he is making the progression?
So I think one of the things is here. I do think the Eagles are set by here, personally. Yeah,
I do too.
So I think because of that, if they're nursing injuries, most of their starters play a couple of series and are done. If that, they might not even play their starting. Like Jalen Hurts might not be playing here. Why would you play him here if you're secure? If you're in your position and you can't go up or down, why would you play him here? I wouldn't.
No chance.
Especially with a guy who runs that way. I'm not.
And a guy who got hurt last year.
I'm not risking a non-contact injury making a cut. I'm just not going to risk that on this dude.
Yeah, and his legs got hurt last year. I don't take that risk.
I think knowing where you got to last year, where you were a series away from a Super Bowl win, I think right here, right now, I will take the Giants, depending on the situation, but the Giants have to make the playoffs and the Eagles don't.
I took the Giants as well. Granted, I didn't look at their schedule, the record I had for them. Even with this win, they're 8-9, so I don't think they win anything here. But I also don't see a reason for them to go out and lose it if
they might not even be making the playoffs in my book, but I think they are because I took them over the Packers.
No. You have them 7-10.
So yeah, well, okay. Even with maybe they're playing for pride.
I mean, against the Eagles, they would love to just get a win. It's a big marker for them. All right, you want to go to the Commanders next and just get this out of the way?
Oh, one of the easiest to call all the way down the fucking board.
You can't say it because they start the season with the Cardinals.
Oh no! Please tell me this is a 1:00 game.
It is a 1:00 game in DC.
In DC, give me the Commanders starting off 1-0.
Oh man, I agree with you. And this area is going to be unbearable. They're going to be like, "We're not that bad."
Yeah, wait till you get beat next week by Russell and the Broncos.
Yeah, so week 2 is at Denver. We already took the Broncos here. Russell, I think, is going to improve. I do from last year, and this team with Javonte Williams there, this whole team is just better.
This is a crazy stat. Check this out. The Seattle move to Denver for Russell. In a one season moving teams, there has never been a quarterback percentage drop in quarterback rating as high ever as Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to blame it all on the coach, but I think Nathaniel Hackett was a large problem. So
I know people were like, "Oh, Sean Payton was out of line." Sean Payton was not out of line. Nobody says that out loud.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett
he was right. He said it wasn't just Hackett. There was 20 people in the room who let this shit happen. You don't give him his own office. You don't do this shit. fuck off. Like Sean Payton is old school. He is Bieniemy without people criticizing him.
Yeah, I mean, in a Super Bowl to his name.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, you let this guy just walk in here and think he owns the place? Fuck off. Peyton's like, I own this place now. The Waltons own this place now.
Yeah, no, Denver, I think, steamrolled the Commanders, to be honest. The Commanders don't have anywhere near the offense to even handle the Broncos' defense. I don't care what Russell does.
They might be able to slow down the offense, okay, but they're not going to do anything on offense themselves.
Yeah, not at all. And then the following week is the Bills. We already took this one, Buffalo.
Easy.
Yeah. And then the following week for the Commanders again, let's just roll it, I guess, at Philly. I already wrote in the Eagles for both of us.
Thank you.
Pick the Eagles, but
that's an easy pick.
Yeah. All right. This is where it gets intriguing. Bears in DC. And for some reason, this is a Thursday night football game.
I know I was good on these guys last year. I was real good at putting them where they belong. But give me the Bears.
I'm giving the Commanders their second win because of the defense. I think this defense might not slow down Justin Fields on the ground, but I think the defense is good enough to keep them in this game.
Give me Justin Fields 100 yards on the ground and 200 through the air.
And Chase Young's playing for money, so I got to believe that he's playing
to get traded is what he's playing for.
Yeah, I think he's going to go out there and have a great season this year. Watch, he'll get hurt week 1. All right. The next week is at Atlanta.
Ooh,
I'm going Falcons.
Yeah.
I think Bijan Robinson and company are just too much.
I don't know about what's his name, Desmond Ridder.
Again, I said this while you were taking care of your dog earlier. How the fuck did he not play in the preseason game?
You think you maximize snaps, right?
How are you that confident in him? He didn't look great last year. I've heard he looks kind of average in preseason. I would have made sure he played at least a series.
Make him play too, like any other starter who has questions. Like make him play.
Yeah, series. Baker played a whole quarter.
Yeah,
like
I don't think there's really questions on Baker. It's like, oh, if he gets hurt, we're worse. We're good.
Yeah, but I've heard Kyle Trask is close, so I don't know. All right, are you taking Falcons or Commanders?
Falcons. I mean, I don't know. I know what they have on defense, but I think Bijan might have a day.
I do too. Well, I think I'll have a day in receiving. I don't know if he can run against them yet. Their fucking defense.
They're still really good against the run. Like, yeah,
because they got that kid, that dude who you had in our fantasy last year, Deron Payne.
Yep.
And Jonathan Allen right in the middle. That combo is just disgusting. That's the one thing I give the Commanders on defense. Those two up front are nasty. All right, and then the following week is the Giants. We already picked this a minute ago. We both took the Giants. I'm trying to look at the Commanders' corner room to see if their defense is good behind the front. But they drafted Emmanuel Forbes this year in the draft, but he's already hurt with a groin injury.
Give me 1 second. Another barking dog.
You're good. But you know, we're not trying to shit on teams here, but like we're very honest, which is one of our downfalls to some people. We're too honest about things. And if you look at the Commanders, like you have Sam Howell in his second year, who didn't really start until week 17 last year, competing for a starting job with Jacoby Brissett, who has not been able to hold a starting job. The running back room, I don't know what to make of that running back room with Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Jared Patterson. It's interesting. And then at wide receiver, we still only have Terry McLaurin in DC. There's not much else. It's kind of a nightmare. Offensive line is old, and the young pieces haven't shown anything yet worth talking about. They lost their right guard, their best player in their team, not just their offensive line, the whole team. He's gone. So that's going to be a huge change. And then, like I said, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne is God tier in the middle on defense. Linebacker room, not great. Jim and Davis still hasn't stepped to where everyone thought he would be in the draft. So I don't know. We're not trying to shit on a team, but they haven't really done much to improve.
Well,
so it's hard.
They're a transition team, right? They're transitioning ownership. They might change their name again.
I've heard that that's definitely going to happen.
I've heard that too. I've actually heard they've contacted people about going back to the original name.
Yeah, and the petition has been signed by fans, and it's hit way past the goal. So
I make this argument all the time. Is like here locally in New York, they changed like a local sports team's names from like the Chiefs, which Chiefs to me, and maybe I'm wrong here, and if so, correct me. Chiefs isn't derogatory.
It is not.
It's a position within the tribe.
It 100% is not derogatory.
So why not go to the people? Like a lot of people can make a stink about it being a derogatory term. If Redskins is derogatory, why not go to the people who it represents? If you take all of Native American representation out, isn't that just as bad?
Yeah.
To me, it is. Like you have now no representation. So why not go to the people and be like, okay, if this is bad, what do you suggest we use? Why not try that strategy? It's like find where it actually represents people rather than just the Commanders was a terrible choice. Cleveland Guardians, terrible name. Like just go ask the people who if they're offended.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before. One of the options was the Thunderbirds because in World War II, there was an all Native American Air Force unit called the Thunderbirds.
Okay.
That was one of the things that people were considering. And I was like, that would be perfect. It's not derogatory towards Native Americans, and it represents a Native American unit in the military. Like, it was a cool idea. And then they went with Commanders. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's what I mean by everybody with a mass exodus for anything that remotely touches the idea of Native Americans is like, well, that's also just as bad because now you're just eliminating that possibility.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they got rid of the tomahawk chop in Atlanta. I didn't see why that was derogatory. It's literally, I didn't get it.
Historical action.
Yeah, I didn't get it. It is what it is. They're like you said, they're just eliminating Native American culture from sports because they are worried it's going to offend. And I just don't know. I mean, there's natives in this area that has said they weren't even upset. Like, yeah, the Redskin term is offensive to use against people, but they weren't out there claiming that the team needed to change their name. That was just like a progressive move that they tried to make sure that no one got upset.
Yeah. How would you say it's damage control without any backing?
Yeah. We'll see what Magic does. I know Magic's a large part behind it, so we'll see what he does. But anyway, we took the Giants and Eagles respectively the next 2 weeks against the Commanders, and I can tell you the third one, November 5th. We also took the Pats.
I like the Pats here, but again, I'm not real high on my own team this year.
I'm higher on you guys than you are, which is crazy.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I like him against the Commanders, but I'm not going to say I like him against a lot of other teams.
But I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying not to be so negative about the Commanders, but like I can't.
Sometimes you have to admit a team is bottom four, right? And this is
I'm just having a hard time because, like, I'm like with Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne on one team with Terry McLaurin, you can't be this bad, right? And I'm like, no, you really can. Like, it's so hard to see. But
remember the Bears last year before they traded Roquan and their other defensive pieces. Where did I put them?
Robert Quinn.
Where did I put them in wins?
1-16.
I gave them, yes. And what were they?
3-14. Yeah, 3-14 because the Texans were 3-13-1. That's why they were second.
I had them at 2-15 or 5-12.
They were 5-12.
No. That was the two outcomes I had.
Oh, yeah.
2-15 or 5-12, and guess where it landed? Closer to 2-15.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't want to be negative for teams, but they just paint writing on the wall for you. And
yeah, and the whole, like you said, the whole ownership change and the potential head coach and everything, we all know it's probably all coming to a change. It just spells a bad season in general because it's going to put that pall over the team in general.
Those same defensive pieces you're talking about may be gone by midseason.
Yeah, and the offensive pieces are whining like babies about the offensive coordinator. So I don't know.
It's just it's not a good look. They're not. Listen, if they get 5 wins, it's an overachievement to me.
Well, I can tell you right now, it doesn't look like that's happening. The following week, which we haven't picked yet, we're about to, is in Seattle.
Yeah,
and I'm going Seattle.
Carroll, give me Geno Smith, that whole crew. I'm taking Seattle here.
Stop. God, this dog. All right, and then the following week, again, we took the next 3 games here. It's the Giants. We took the Giants. Again, the Commanders just really are that bad.
This could be a swing game. The Giants game at home could be a swing game because, again, interdivision. So those are always harder to win for the team on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. This could be one of the very few they might pull out a win here type games. The next game, not really a question here at Dallas.
Nope.
On Thanksgiving, just easily Dallas. We already took that. The following week is Sunday at 1:00. It's the Dolphins game. The only thing I might give them credit for here is maybe they play some good defense. It's going to be probably pretty cold DC in December against the Miami team, who right now I'm not hearing a lot of positive about, but I still think I'm going to hold my pick here on the Dolphins.
And I don't mind the Miami running back room. So,
yeah, I just need to see them show up. Like, I love the talent, just show up.
Yeah, and you're running into what we just talked about. If those pieces are still there, this is a stout run defense.
Now, here we go. Just like week 1 against Arizona, where it could be a decently bad game. At LA against the Rams.
This is tough. I'm just looking at the stats from last year. Like I was just talking about, Washington Redskins were 6th in the NFL points against.
Yeah, points against. They didn't lose anything on defense. They actually upgraded defense with a good rookie quarter.
Being 6th in the NFL in points against at 15 points a game. So that means they lost most of their games like 18-10.
Crazy they were 8-1. I'm going Commanders here.
This is a oof.
Just that defensive.
I think this is where like bottom 4 versus bottom 4.
Yeah, for me though, this is where Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Chase Young against the Rams line. And that I just can't.
Yeah, I actually think. Wait, this is in LA, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I actually think the Redskins win here too.
I
know it's so strange to say in LA, but I don't know how. I can't in my head put how the Rams beat this defense.
Yeah, I can't either. I was trying. I literally was sitting here like, okay, wait, there's got to be I literally had the Rams typed in, and then I was like, nope, the defense.
Like, they know you're going to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp, and they don't have to worry about the run.
Yeah, not a shot they have to worry about the run. All right, and then the next 3 weeks are fairly easy. We already picked one of them at Jets. We took the Jets. And then the next 2 weeks, we already picked the last one, which is the Cowboys. But the next one here after the Jets, the Niners. We're not dumb. Niners.
I don't think I have to speak on this one.
Okay, cool. And then the following week is the Cowboys, and we already took that one. So I have one more win than you do on the Commanders. I have them 3-14. You have them 2-15.
In the running for number 1 pick.
I feel okay with it, but I still think because their defense is kind of edgy and feisty, they might pull out a couple of these like the Falcons. And
this is going to be similar to the Bears last year. 2-15, ranging up to 5 wins. So that's about it. I think
if they trade those guys that we talked about, they're really going to be really bad.
They end up being the Bears last year. But if they keep the pieces those pieces that they want to build upon, then okay, they might get into that 4 or 5 win category and try and trade into a quarterback.
Yep. Unless Sam Howell somehow looks okay, but I don't know.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I keep hoping because I actually like Sam Howell, but I just don't. I don't know. I think he's a good backup. I don't think he's a starter. He reminds me a little bit of Davis Mills. So
he's a serviceable backup.
Yep. But Davis Mills did look good in the preseason game, but
I think but by the way, the term serviceable backup really hurts Dak Prescott considering what his serviceable backup did while he was out.
Looked wonderful. Well, not wonderful. Looked like Dak. But
we go to the 5 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Done.
All right, we go to the next week here, or the next team, the last team we have to pick, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles. We have week 1 picked. It's September 10th, 4:25. They're starting the Super Bowl runner-up of the year off against the Pats, and we both picked the Eagles here.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't tell me I picked the Pats because I didn't.
No, both picked the Eagles here. It's not really much of a debate. The Pats are decent, in my opinion, but they're not this good. The Eagles are good everywhere except for running back.
I honestly, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's like a 10-point game, maybe more.
I think it's going to be a little more. I think 13 would be fair. They're right now a 5-point favorite on the road. So
yeah, so that's 8 automatic essentially.
Yeah. But all right, so we'll go after that. We go to week 2. We actually have a good bit of Eagles picking here this time. Minnesota, in Philly. I'm not going to hesitate here because this is their first game after their Super Bowl run at home, and I'm going to go with the Eagles.
But it's only 4-day rest, so it's a Thursday night game.
It is indeed yes, it is a Thursday night game.
I'm still taking Philly here. I think it's a little bit closer because of that short-term window.
It does make a difference.
I think the Vikings regress some. You're not going to go what do they go like 11-1 in 1 point or 1 score games last year, something like that.
Yeah, the Vikings are also coming off of obviously another 4-day rest as well, but they're playing the Bucs, so they're going to get an easy one.
Yeah,
so that might help them too. So
I think the Vikings are still a tough matchup, but
yeah, Jordan Addison right now is still playing. If he plays, that receiver room is more electric than it has been because Adam Thielen didn't provide a lot of electricity. He just provided a lot of stability. If you have Addison and Justin Jefferson, the Vikings can really do some exciting things out wide. So,
but hear me out. 8:15 on a Thursday night, you're getting primetime Cousins, baby.
Oh, yeah, no. Eagles. I already had the Eagles, but Eagles all the way. I forgot.
So that's, that makes me feel much better when I thought about that now about the Eagles pick. I think it'll be a closer game than it should be, but I think the Eagles pull it out. You underestimate the line. Whose line?
What line?
It says link, but I think it meant line.
I agree.
The link?
What the link?
LINC. Oh, Lincoln Financial.
I'll be at Lincoln Financial next year for the WrestleMania.
I am, by the way, I am going to an NFL game this year.
But which game?
November 5th. Commanders at Patriots? So I get to see I picked a biased win.
Yeah, it was. Look, Lincoln Financial is a great stadium, and the fans are super crazy. They're like the Bills. But you got to remember, it's kind of like with Seattle. When they travel to other places, they kind of aren't really bothered by the crowd because they come from a crazy crowd. Minnesota is one of the loudest stadiums in football. Those fans are ape shit. So they kind of – I'm not saying it's not like beneficial to have your home team here, but Minnesota plays the Eagles pretty tight.
Northern folk out in the
They're
winter
not.
weather are just outside of their minds. Okay.
Granted, they don't play the Eagles tight. I said that, but I just remember last year, weren't they the team that got demolished by the Eagles? I'm pretty sure it was like 30 something to. It was a blowout. But no, I'm going Eagles. I think they're the better overall roster, top to bottom. Like the only thing different is both teams have kind of shitty running back rooms. Otherwise, the Eagles are better in every aspect of the game.
I was 24-7.
There you go. And the Eagles scored all 24 points in the first half and then just coasted.
Yeah, they were just like cruising.
No, I like the Eagles this year a lot, and I think this is one of those games where the Eagles just kind of, again, Jordan Addison, I do really want to see what he does against top corners like Philly has. His electric young speed with Justin Jefferson on the other side. It makes it like intriguing because the Eagles have top corners, but they're a little older now, so I'm curious.
Don't forget about the tight end.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, Hawkinson, yeah.
Don't forget about Hawkinson.
But to be fair, everybody forgets about that good old Eagles Goddard. Goddard's a fucking monster.
No. So. What I'm saying is, if you like Addison, you like Jefferson. When Hawkinson got there, it was much different. Like there was a much bigger threat there than was before.
Yeah, and the Eagles did. The one thing I will say about them is they lost their starting linebacker. TJ Edwards is gone.
Yeah, so that makes it'll be a tougher matchup. I still think the Eagles win here. If it were later in the season, I would question it.
The Kobe Dean, though, so maybe. And it's prime time. Anyway, week 3, Philadelphia's schedule at Tampa Bay. I don't think we have to question this one. I'm going Eagles by like 25. Give me
one of them bottom 4 teams, in my opinion. I think they'd be the best of the bottom 4. Maybe
this is the game the Eagles could honestly. That defense is so good they can make Baker finally find the bench. This might be the game that sets Baker officially to the bench.
And Kyle Trask, right, would come in.
Yeah, and by the way, this is somehow a primetime game. I'm not shitting on Philly because they should get some primetime games, but I don't want to see the Bucs in primetime. But it's a Monday Night Football.
I was going to say 7:15. That's Monday night, right?
Yeah, it's a Monday night game. All right, and then they get the Commanders. We took this one, Eagles, easily.
Wow, look at 3 games in a row like this? What?
Oh, I know. The Rams.
Okay, so pencil us in for win.
Eagles at Rams. Yeah, Eagles by a long fucking shot. This defense is going to eat that Rams' terrible offensive line. It's just going to eat it.
There's no doubt in my mind they win those 3.
Unfortunately, this could be the game we see John Stafford miss some time after because this is going to be a rough game on that guy.
That puts in like that's why I question the next game. And I don't think we have to really dwell on the Rams. We have the Rams as a bottom 4 team. They literally got 3 out of the 4 bottom teams, I think. In a row.
But here we go. Here we go with the Jets. We took this one when we picked the AFC East 4 weeks ago, but it's tight. But I still have the Eagles winning this. We both picked the Eagles, and I still think they pull this out.
1, 2, 3. I have them winning every game so far.
So we've picked the next 3. We've picked the next. We've picked all the way up to their bye, and you have them undefeated as of right now.
Yeah, switch that Jets to a win for the Jets.
Okay.
That's the one I think where they'll struggle just because of Aaron Rodgers. I think they may give him pressure and they could win that game and go undefeated that whole stretch. But I can't do that right now. I got.
He does struggle against the Eagles too, so
I know it's kind of like Tom Brady and the Saints. It's a weird thing.
I've got them unbeaten to the bye, and I'll stick with it. I got the Eagles here against the Jets. I think that defense is just too good for the Jets. The offensive line problems. Aaron could expose some things because he's so good at it, especially since he's happy. He's happy right now. So Aaron being happy is a terrifying Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, that is kind of scary. And again, I know I've lived by let me see it first, but somewhere along that line, the Eagles are just going to have a falter where they should have won 19-17, but they lost 19-17. Something's going to happen there. That's my opinion on like how it works.
Well, let's be real. You lost your offensive coordinator, you lost your defensive coordinator. So this is a good opportunity for a team that's growing and making strides to step up and win a game. And I do think it's fair.
It may not be the Jets. It could be the Vikings week 2. This is
this is where you have to. I really want to see what the new defensive coordinator is. I don't even know who it is. Who is it? I'm actually going to look that up.
Mind you, the head coach is the same, so the team is still moving in the same direction. They just might not have the like. I think the Steichen leaving Jalen Hurts could be what hurts the most, if that, for lack of a better pun, you know.
Well, that and losing T.J. Edwards, you lost your middle linebacker caller. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with Jacoby Dean. I think he's a fucking freak. The guy that was carrying that middle linebacker as play caller is now gone. So,
devil's advocate appreciated, because we do that ourselves as well.
Now, Sean Desai, because I'm trying to figure out about this guy, was the assistant defensive associate defensive head coach with the Seattle Seahawks last year. And he was quality control assistant with the Chicago Bears before that. I don't know anything about him, so we'll have to see. And we love Devil's Advocate, so we appreciate it. And we appreciate you guys just hanging out and chatting. Even if you call us morons, we still appreciate your time to hang out with us.
I need to be called a moron quite often.
All right, so they get home against the Dolphins the next week. I'm taking the Eagles. My love for the Dolphins, not that I've ever loved them, but my even appreciation for the Dolphins. Everything I keep hearing, like I've said multiple times tonight, has declined tremendously. So we already picked the Eagles, both of us, and I'm sticking with that.
It was kind of the same argument I made against Bryce Young, right? Like, you just see some of those Eagles linemen, and you're like, if they get a hold of Tua, his season's over.
Yeah, the kid they drafted this year because of the off the field issues.
By the way, the Eagles just drafted Georgia's defensive players. That's all they draft.
Yeah, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis are on the same team with the Kobe Dean behind it.
Oh, but they're adding that to what they already have.
Yep.
Like, this defense is going to be a juggernaut.
Yep. And the offense, really, I don't care that they don't have running backs. This offense is terrifying. We see it in today's climate. You don't need a running back. You really don't.
Darlene, I'm a self-proclaimed moron.
Yeah, I say it all the time. Morons. It's okay. And then the Commanders the following week after the Dolphins. We already easily.
I don't need you to ask me who to pencil in.
We already took that one, and that's not even close. Then the Cowboys, we did take the Eagles here in Philly. I think this is a good game for the Eagles to come out here and show the division is still theirs, to be honest. This is in Philly, and I think they hold their own at home.
I think at home, not bad. But remember, so the last 3 games against the Cowboys won 40-34 on Christmas Eve 2022. They lost 26-17 to the Eagles October 16th, 2022, and beat the Eagles on January 8th, which is like a throwaway game. It's week 18, but they beat them 51-26. So the Cowboys beat the Eagles. So I think the Eagles win this game. I think the next one is the one in question.
Yeah, because that was the first one that you said, the one they won. The second one of the 3 was Cooper Rush as well. Not saying that Dak is better than Cooper Rush.
Was that also a game Jalen Hurts didn't play? I don't remember.
No, he missed the end of the season.
It was Gardner Minshew. It was Gardner Minshew versus Dak Prescott.
At the end of the year, right?
Oh, so yeah, the only one they won was the one where Hurts actually played.
Yeah, against Cooper Rush. But either way. And then they get their bye. I've got them unbeaten through their bye. But I have them coming off their bye with a loss. You have them picking up a win. It is Monday Night Football in the Super Bowl repeat in Kansas City. and I've got the Chiefs winning this one. And you have the Eagles winning this one, but I am firmly behind Kansas
I think
City.
this is one where I had to give the Chiefs a loss just because otherwise they were just juggernauting their way through the season, which they might.
Yeah,
but coming off a bye, I think they have a better shot.
I don't know. Some teams come out real flat early in the game off of a bye. So that's always one of those things that is really interesting. I don't know what they've done off of a bye with their current head coach. Because, like, if you look at John Harbaugh, he's only lost like 3 games off of a bye. But if you look at people like Pete Carroll, their record is terrible off of a bye. So I find it interesting how different coaches can be off of a bye week. But yeah, I mean, I think Eagles could easily win this. This is one of those toss-up games. Again, my biggest thing here for the Chiefs-Eagles game is the Eagles actually have, in my opinion, the better depth roster because the Chiefs don't have running backs, and the Eagles at least have a receiving room. But the Chiefs just have that Mahomes factor.
Yeah.
But in the end, my only worry is just what did the Eagles lose with the defensive and offensive coordinator leaving? Because they make such a difference in the game of football.
You know what I didn't think about? Andy Reid also owns the Eagles.
He does indeed.
So I may have to switch that one later, but I'll leave it for now. I will.
And it's probably, unless they meet in the Super Bowl, this is our last chance to see the battle of the Kelsey brothers, which I'm really excited to watch because I love watching those two. All right. So the next week we picked the Bills-Eagles game. I took the Eagles. You took the Eagles. We both took the Eagles here over Buffalo.
And I think it comes down to like a Josh Allen turnover.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are just Jalen Hurts is a more. Don't kill me, Bills fans. Josh Allen has the better down arm ball throw, but Jalen Hurts is the better overall quarterback. He's better with the ball. He protects the ball, and he still gets the goddamn points and yards.
Overall, I still think the Eagles' defense is better than the Bills' defense.
I agree. Tremaine Edmonds is a big loss for the Bills. I know their safeties are all back, but I don't like them losing Tremaine Edmonds in the slightest. All right. So, but please, Bills fans, don't murder me. Jalen Hurts is better than Josh Allen. I will say it, though.
At this point, it's hard not to argue that. And until Jalen Hurts shows me otherwise, he has a higher ceiling. He has
the lack of turnovers just so much better for me.
Lack of turnovers. His arm is getting better. Yeah, he can't throw the same deep ball that Josh Allen can, but his legs are better. So you make a fair trade there. When it comes down to it, Hurts was the MVP of the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
He was indeed.
I mean, he lost, but he wasn't the reason they lost.
Best quarterback rating in the history of the Super Bowl.
I mean, we watched. That was 1 year removed from him getting absolutely dummied in the first round of the playoffs.
No, he's taking stride after stride after stride. Look, everyone can tell you I am one of the biggest haters of the Philadelphia fucking sports teams because the way those fans treat their players, I just don't. I'm not behind it.
Chat? Did you hear that, chat?
But I will give all the credit in the world to what the Eagles have done to build this franchise from the bottom. Like, literally, they have just built it inside themselves, and they have one of the best defenses in the league. They have a quarterback that is actually taking the effort. Like, he didn't just go, I can make it in the league or I can just take the money. He fucking, in that offseason between 2 years ago and last year's season, worked his ass off. And to find out that he's still working to improve even more, there's nothing I love more than Hart. It's why I loved Russell Wilson more than any quarterback in his draft. And yes, he was drafted with Andrew Luck. I loved Russell Wilson more, not just because he was a Wisconsin guy. The dude had heart. Jalen Hurts' heart is off the charts. And heart and effort goes so fucking far.
I don't care what anybody says. The dude is also just smart.
Yeah, he's also, I mean, he's very intelligent.
Did you hear his comment? Like, the whole thing, like, this is exactly what they talk about. Like, what do they call them? Intangibles with quarterbacks. Okay. He gets asked a hard question. The whole Deshaun Watson thing's going down. And he goes, well, I would never do that. And he goes, look at my team. And from manager, agent, all the way down,
Cloud.
every single person he names, a woman. And he says, because I have respect. And he goes, and because they do it better than anyone else in the fucking league. Like, he had no qualms about answering that question. And it would be a hard question. And he just goes, no, every single person on my team, woman, because they know how to handle business. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, that's all he did. And he just launched that whole argument. Like, do you have 24 fucking massages? It's like, he's like, I'm not fucking stupid. Like, don't ask me that question.
Yeah. No, he was. I love everything about Jalen Hurts.
And again, like you're a guy that you love to watch. Not that it's your team, but another because you live in the area. Lamar Jackson. Everybody wants that guy to take the next step, right? Hurts took that step the first time, and now they're saying, oh, he took another giant leap in the offseason.
And the funny thing is,
if he took that giant of a leap, he is going to be elite.
The funny thing is, he did it before he got paid. He didn't make them pay him. He did it to get paid. Lamar, I'm sorry, his legs are exciting, but he's no better than Justin Fields right now. I still haven't seen that crazy arm season yet.
I mean, the difference between Jalen Hurts season over season with throws was monstrous. He was accurate last year, like incredibly accurate.
Yeah. And the things he struggled with, or the things I say Field struggles with, which one of the things he used to struggle with was a receiver going across the middle of the field from his left to his right. He would tend to fail to throw ahead and throw those picks. And now, last year, he had no issues. And I was like, dude, the dude worked on his game, and I fucking love it.
He was hitting guys in stride so they wouldn't take a hit and they'd be out of bounds. And that's a hard throw to make.
Yep.
So I have high hopes for the guy. Like I said, I think they take a slight regression just because of schedule, but it's only slight, maybe one or two more losses.
Yeah, I mean, we did say they faced 3 of the 4 bottom teams in a row, but their schedule gets real tough right here because, like I said, bye week, then Chiefs, then Bills. Then we go to their next game, and we haven't picked this one yet. This one's intriguing. In Philadelphia, a rematch of the NFC title game, the 49ers.
I know a lot of people are sliding Philly, and it's in Philly, and I want to take Philly. I think this is more of a toss-up than people think, just because of the if any defense stacks up to the Eagles' defense or is better, it's this defense. Depending on health, I don't think there's many better defenses than these two teams. This might be a game. They have the over-under at 45.5, and I'd be like, over-under 30, I'm taking the under. But it could go the exact opposite way.
This is really a hard game for me. I'm taking the Eagles.
It's in Lincoln, too. I'm
taking the Eagles.
You know what I need to know? I gotta look it up. Who do the 49ers have the week before?
I got you. I've already got them up. Because I was looking at their roster. The Seahawks.
God, that makes it even harder.
Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. Yeah.
Because the Eagles are coming off Chiefs, Bills, and going into the 49ers.
Yeah. And then have Dallas and Seattle following.
Well, you took the Eagles. I'm taking the Niners. West Coast, man.
All right. The next game we picked, which was the Cowboys-Eagles. I know you said you might come back to this later. I took the Cowboys here because it's in Dallas. I can't have the Eagles sitting at 17-1 or 16-1. So, taking the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Eagles here.
Yeah. The following week.
So they go at Cowboys, at Seahawks with that noise.
Yeah. No, wait, I didn't take the Cowboys. Did I? I gotta go look. I don't know what I did. I'll go look at it in a second. I'm taking the Eagles. I don't know.
Which bird are you taking, boy?
I am having a really hard time with this one.
In Philly, late afternoon, early December, could be 80, could be 20. Hey, I know that weather. That's like the weather up where I am, so I feel you there.
Yeah, but this is in Seattle.
Seattle, December, wet, rainy game. Eagles running back room in question, but Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts.
I'm taking Seahawks.
God, that's
This is West Coast to East Coast to West Coast. That normally doesn't affect much, but I think the Seahawks
again gotta weigh in on the loss of offensive coordinator, loss of defensive coordinator.
Oh, San Fran. Is that in December? It is in December.
Yeah. No. I understand that. But San Francisco, listen, they're the only team I would say matches up as physical as Philly.
And we've also had a very mild winters here the past few years.
Let's not get political, but global warming.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I'm only 2 hours from Philly, and we didn't get a single fucking drop. We got like flurries last year, and that was it all winter. So
the amount of rain I've had this year, where I am, that we don't normally have, I've had to have contractors come to my house and just make sure, like, hey, do we have things in proper order for drainage? Because let's make sure this is all taken care of. We've had so much rain in my area this year that we normally don't have, and that's cool. I mean, the trees love it. My yard loves it. But let me think. Seattle. Oh, by the way, also coming off a stretch. The stretch is Cowboys, bye, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks here just because of the stretch. Because I think they win the next three no matter what.
Just for the record, this does make a little bit of a difference, maybe. But the Seahawks are coming off of Niners, Cowboys, Niners before this game.
Oh my Lord! They both they go Bills, Niners, Cowboys, and the Seahawks go. What was it?
Niners, Cowboys, Niners, because they're division rival double game thing.
They're lit. Oh my God! That basically evens it out. That literally, these two teams, by the time they get here, are going to be so bloody. It's not going to be funny, dude. Oh my Lord! Honestly, that is two of the worst 3-game stretches I think you could have for both teams. I'm going to take the Seahawks here based on just giving them a loss because I think they win the next 3 no matter what.
Well, we both took the Giants in the final week.
Oh, that's right, because they're not going to be playing anybody.
Yeah.
Still, I'm going to pencil in Seahawks here, and I might need the eraser later.
Well, if they're playing for something, yes, I think the Eagles play everybody and dominate the Giants in the final week. But because I think they're going to play backups, I just think it's not relevant.
Yeah,
because with that loss, 13-4 is what we have them, and the NFC is terrible, so that's definitely top of the NFC.
Yeah,
minus the Niners.
I think that's very fair in my opinion. So I'll give they might not lose to the Seahawks, but they might lose somewhere else, and I'll take that.
Yeah, 13-4 is a very fair record, and if the Niners are also going into that game at 13-3, then they're not going to start their backups, and they'll win 14-3.
Yeah. So again, they were 14. Eagles were 14-3 last year. I see.
And we're giving them one extra loss with a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and as you have said, a first place schedule.
Yeah, and like you said, the loss of a very good linebacker. So
yeah,
okay, I can live with that. One extra loss, maybe. Yeah. I would say maybe one more somewhere along the line that they probably shouldn't lose because that happens every year.
Yeah, you have them. So we both have them 13-4, which means you have them 3 games better than the Cowboys, and I've got them 4 games better than the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys. I think we probably underestimate the Cowboys, honestly, but who knows?
I never know. I really don't. It's so hard. I don't ever know. Cowboys are one of those teams where I try not to be biased, but it's hard because I never see anything that makes me feel good about them.
But
last year they literally
somehow they always win 11 or 12 games, right?
last year they took the Texans to overtime. Like, I don't know. I just don't know.
You don't. America's team keeps you on your toes. That's what they do.
All right. We have one last bit of business before we end this tonight. Top 15, top 10, sorry.
Can I bring up one thing I learned this week that was big with NFL and like picking teams and players and things like that?
Go ahead.
Have you seen the Manziel documentary yet?
No, but I heard that he like put no effort in, didn't practice, didn't try, didn't study film.
Zero. They asked him, how much film did you study? And he just goes,
To be fair, Gronk didn't either.
No, but here's the kicker. Check this out. Before the draft where Manziel was taken and Jadeveon Clowney was taken, one person said he would never draft either of those players. And you know who it was?
Bill Belichick.
Merrill Hodge. He said Jadeveon Clowney is not a very good football player. I would take Khalil Mack in a heartbeat over him. How right was he?
I mean, you couldn't be more right. Let's be honest. To be fair, like just straight honesty, Jadeveon Clowney was nothing but an athletic freak. He wasn't a great football player, and I don't know what the fuck the obsession with Johnny Manziel was. I really never understood it. Never was behind it. Never got into it. So,
also, Merrill Hodge puts bust label on draft star Manziel.
The fuck is Merrill Hodge?
He's an ESPN colleague. And he is huge into college football. He said Manziel lacks any classic metrics for a quarterback. He's not 6'2". He plays primarily to run. And he like said all this shit. And he picked like 14 players ahead of Manziel. And Manziel fell to 22.
Well, it's hard to even drop people farther when you're on TV because people expect you to say his name eventually when everyone else is. Otherwise, you kind of look like the idiot too, which doesn't help. But all right,
I just think it's such a refreshing take to know that people are like, nah. He said he's a fifth or sixth round grade maximum.
It's not unfair.
Nope. And I understand there's a lot to unpack in the Manziel documentary. It looks like he has serious bouts of depression, shit like that. But just hearing him call out those guys when somebody said that Clowney was better than Randy Moss as a prospect or that he was better than Marcus Lattimore, Hodge goes, he's not Marcus Lattimore. He's not Stephon Gilmore. He's not Melvin Ingram.
Yikes. All right. Let's get to tight ends. I gotta watch that sometime. I love me a good football documentary.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're ranking our fantasy tight ends. If you have any other fantasy questions before we leave, feel free to ask. We'll be back again next Monday as well, which we're not ending now, but I'm just saying we'll answer any fantasy questions. We're still looking for people who want to join our fantasy league. The only difference about it is a standard league, other than the fact that you don't draft defensive special teams. You draft 11 individual defensive players, so you actually have to have your defensive knowledge with you. Otherwise, it's a normal league. You get a championship belt at the end. You don't have to pay for it. It's all paid for by the league commission. And you get your belt. Dot still hasn't given me his address, so he hasn't been able to show off his belt.
I'll send that to you because I'm going to have to show off before the league starts, you know?
Yeah, he's got a belt, though, for winning the first year of our league last year. So, anyway, on to tight ends we go. I'm assuming the number one is consensus as fuck, but I'll have you say it just in case, I guess.
Oh, let me pull up my list here. Sorry.
All right, I'll start with it then, real quick,
Yeah,
because my number
go
one
ahead.
is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Dots is too, because
Consensus
we're not.
number one. I mean, not very hard until he shows me signs of slowing. He is number one.
100% agree. All right, number two though, who you got? This is everything after one is kind of debatable.
I think he rebounds here. Rough year last year for him, but I think he rebounds. I think the wide receivers help open him up, and I think Mark Andrews gets back to business.
Dope. We're tied up here again because I got Mark Andrews as my two as well. I think he easily gets, and if Lamar stays healthy, it easily helps him stay back in business. So I agree with you on that one. All right, three. Now we get interesting.
Three, I mentioned this guy earlier in the podcast. I really like him where he's at now. I think it's TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, you said him a good bit in the show the past couple of weeks, and I had a feeling you had him high.
Yep.
This isn't really high, to be honest. I think this is kind of fair. It'll be the biggest step of his career being that early, obviously. This is going to shock people because of his injury risks and his injury history. But my three this year is George Kittle.
Not a bad pick here.
The quarterback room makes me feel like they're going to get comfortable with the tight end, so I'm going with George Kittle.
I have one person above him, and this one's a stretch. This one's my stretch.
This is your four?
My four, Evan Engram.
All right. I don't mind it. I know I've seen a lot of people have it on like 12th, but I actually think he's way better than that.
I think I might even be a little high on him. I think he might be 6-7 on a lot of people's boards. I like the way he's trending.
No, I've got him. I'll just skip ahead. I've got him.
He just got paid, so maybe he slides. But I mean,
I think he's excited to be part of this team.
You saw what he did last year.
10-man PPR, 10-man league PPR. What round for Kelce?
Oh God, you take him early. If you take him with your second pick, like say you're picking 10th, so you get 10 and 11. You take him 11.
Okay, he's telling you that. I don't know. It depends on what you have. Like honestly, it depends on what's on the board.
If in a 10-man league, it depends on where you draft. Your first, you're gonna want to go. If you're a high pick, you're going to want to go with one of the premier pass catching running backs because they get points per reception and yards for running, lots of touchdowns. If you're later in that first round and those top three pass catching running backs, which are going to be McCaffrey, Eckler, and Bijan Robinson are gone, you can decide what to do at 9 and 10 and 11 are gone. So 9 and 12. Somewhere in that range. If you're a late pick, the thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your quarterback and Kelce at that time, or a running back and Kelce at that time, because quarterbacks tend to slide. You can a mid-range, unless you're getting Mahomes, then you have to weigh somebody like Justin Herbert or a Burrow, but most people let quarterbacks slide in leagues. So if I was doing it, and what I did last year was I had back-to-back picks because I was a little bit later, was I took Mahomes and Kelce back-to-back, guaranteeing points. You could also, like I said, pass on the quarterback and take a top-end running back, one of three, maybe four, and then pick Kelce, but you're going to sacrifice quarterback and wide receiver to do that. So you have to understand who in your league is picking what to do that. So there's a little bit of strategy there. Personally, I would take the running back and somebody like Kelce, or a wide receiver in Kelce, depending on who's available.
Yeah, I agree with that. So the thing for me is, as long as there's no shot, which there shouldn't be if you're talking round 2. As long as Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are gone, in my opinion, Kelce's still the third highest scoring receiving player that is not a running back. I still think he outscores every other wide receiver. So I think Kelce, for me, honestly could be end of round 1, early round 2. If you're sitting at 8 and those top running backs are gone, Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase are gone, Kelsey might not be a bad play because you might not get him on the back end.
For example, in our league last year, I had a similar pick, and I took Mahomes and Kelsey back to back.
Yeah,
and I won the league. I mean,
you also made people panic because then Mark Andrews went in round 2 as well.
Right. So sometimes you set up people to make bad picks because I also ended up with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, you made Mark Andrews go off the board way early because you took Kelsey, and people were probably thinking tight end. But man, Kelsey doesn't put up tight end points; he puts up receiver points.
He puts up receiver points. Yeah, it depends on what you have to react to what other people do ahead of you. But what you do can really make people behind you react because Jefferson came off the board 4. Most people in the first 10 picks aren't picking a quarterback. So if you throw it off.
Yeah, I took Jefferson at 4. Yeah.
Right. My brother took Cup, I think, at either 3 or 5. Like they were
3, right before me. Yeah.
So it was like you literally just have to build you want to build a strategy based on what people are doing. Do some mock drafts where you put yourself in different positions where top players are taken off the board. So you don't have to necessarily take the next best player. You can think who's going to be the next best player available. Even if they say, oh, you're overdrafting him. Kelsey is not a tight end. He fits in as a wide receiver. So you can let wide receiver slide a little bit and pick up your quarterback. If you take the best quarterback and the best tight end, it's better than taking a wide receiver and letting one of those pieces slide a little later. Let the wide receiver slide. I got into wide receiver trouble during the season, and I just pick up guys, and sometimes they hit and sometimes they miss. It's okay because you have guaranteed points. Mahomes, Kelsey, you know that's always in the red zone an option.
And let's be real, you're more likely to pick up a wide receiver that can still hit than you are any tight ends.
Yeah, I got CeeDee Lamb in like the 5th round. Like people were afraid of him, and he was my number 1 wide receiver all year.
Yeah, I'm still afraid of him.
I get it, but
he wasn't in my list, and we did our receivers.
Josh Jacobs slid. He slid all the way to me, and then he was what, number 1 running back last year?
Yeah, he was top.
Okay, so
wish he was playing this year, but
yeah, you got to understand sometimes the dynamic of your own draft and let it happen. But honestly, if you're later, take the quarterback and Kelsey. If you're early, I wouldn't take Kelsey. It depends on where your picks are. If your picks are really close, then you can do that. If they're not, you got to take the top end guy.
Yeah, but Kelsey is literally heads and shoulders, so I would make sure if you're late, get him. If you're top 5, you probably aren't getting him. Now, if he's back to you in round 2, and if you're 5th and he somehow sneaks back around you in round 2, don't even hesitate.
In a 10-man league, if he's 7, 8, 9, take him instantly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I honestly think the 3 above him, and the people above him, in my opinion, in a PPR and a 10-man league, are Bijan, CMC, Eckler, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase, and then maybe Mahomes. But there might not be actually 5 people ahead of him. He might be number 5. Yeah, for me, it's him and Chase battle. But Justin Jefferson's obviously your top PPR receiver.
Yeah,
he's
in a PPR league, I'd probably take. It's probably Jefferson 1, McCaffrey 2, Jamar Chase 3. Maybe depending on Eckler's situation right now, I would probably put him 4. But because his team is now stacked, I'd probably slide him. The only person I might take ahead of Kelsey in that situation is Bijan or Chubb. And probably Bijan. So I'd probably put Kelsey 5, Chubb 6.
Yeah. But all right. Anyway, tight ends. Your 4 was Evan Engram. Mine's TJ Hawkinson, who was your 3. So I'm going to be honest. My 5 is Engram because I know you said you thought had him high. He was my 5.
And my 5 is Kittle, barring the health, So
yeah, to me, it's just the health problem, but I'm basing it on health. So here we go. All right. So up to 5, we're even out. We have everybody each other has. Now I think it's going to get wild. So go ahead.
I think this is where I slot in Goddard.
Okay.
I think Goddard plays a little above average. So here he's not bad. I think there's guys that could have better years than him, but at least he's consistent. Once you get to this point, you start sliding a bit, like where it really ranges week to week. So I think Goddard, being on the team he has hit weeks and he has missed weeks, but his upside is there. They're going to score points.
I didn't expect you to have him. We're still even. I have Dallas Goddard. I love him with Jalen Hurts' growth, and I love him just in general. So with Dallas Goddard here as well at 6. So 7?
This is a tough one. And I think people are going to be like, how do you have him here? Listen, he's one of the only weapons in this offense. And he has good weeks and bad weeks, but he plays above his average. And this sounds strange. I know it sounds strange. But until I see some of these rookies,
I've got no idea who you're going with.
Njoku.
The fuck? Alrighty. I didn't even think of him. I was like, wait, who?
He always plays above average, and he might not be a first thought, but honestly, he plays above his points. He always plays above his points.
You said the word rookie, and you got me on that one. I'm going rookie. My number 7 is Luke Musgrave.
Musgrave this early.
He's already slotting into the offense. He's listed as the number 1 on the official depth chart. Love it. Love it. The fact that they put him above Tyler Davis, who they went out and re-signed, and I was like, damn, that is confidence. So they're seeing something. I'm in.
Man, that was deep down the chart in my end.
Yeah, I know. It's ESPN doesn't have.
Sorry, bias. I forgot about the bias on that pick.
ESPN has. He was my second favorite tight end in the draft. Well, third because I love Michael Mayer, but Michael Mayer still hasn't been seen, so I don't know what to expect out of him. All right, go ahead. 8.
All right, 8 for me. Is because he's a new toy in town, and he might be one of the only toys in town.
Evan Ingram? I mean, not Evan Ingram.
No. Darren Waller.
Darren Waller? Yeah, I figured. Darren Waller's a good shout. It's kid. If he stays healthy, I mean, he could be top 5.
Well, you saw what they did with Bellinger, right? Now just give him absolute talent.
Yeah. All right. Well, 8 for me is another rookie. Fucking love him. Really upset we didn't draft him, but Dalton Kincaid.
I think Kincaid makes an impact. I just don't know if it's that big.
They lost, what's his name? Their other guy. I can't think of his goddamn name. But I think Josh Allen's ability to throw the ball down the field to a fast tight end makes a big difference. So I love Dalton.
Yeah,
Kincaid.
I don't mind the pick where he is. I think I have him slotted a bit lower. But here is where I take somebody who's going to be open because you have to cover Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts.
I fucking hope they put him back in the offense. He's a top 3 tight end if he's actually in the offense. But last year was such a bad example that I'm just terrified of him.
It's terrifying.
As the guy who drafted him, I drafted him in both leagues, in ours and in Dylan's, and I regretted every second of it. So I'm terrified of him. But it's a good shout. I've got Darren Waller here in 9. I think Darren Waller can really step up. I just think that Bellinger is going to take some of his shouts. And I like him a lot. I just think, like I said, Bellinger is going to get some of the play time here and eat a little bit of his time. So, all right. And your 10?
My 10 will be this is where I struggled. I have this pick at 10. Dalton Schultz.
That's interesting. I also have him 10th. I almost put Pitts, but I have Pitts 11th. I have Dalton Schultz at 10 because he's one of, as you've said with
Limited
Darren
weaponry.
Waller, he's one of the shiny new pieces in town, and he's a limited weapon. And I think he's, besides John Mechie, I think he's going to be CJ Stroud's favorite target. So I agree. I have Dalton Schultz 10th. I like him a lot in Houston. I have Pitts 11th, and I know we didn't do more than 10, but I also have someone else to keep an eye on for people is Hayden Hurst. Bryce Young might feel real comfortable with Hayden Hurst.
Yeah. I have him sliding up as well. But where are we at? 11?
Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted to go to 11.
I thought you said 15.
Oh, yeah, 15. Sorry, I'm retarded. All right, remember? We talked about this earlier. Darlene argued, but
all right. We're not morons, but we're morons. Here's this is one I think that's just gonna become a piece in this offense. Is Dulcich for Denver?
I have a love for him.
He
except
has
for I don't
the
know how to
skill.
spell his name.
You got to throw him the ball.
Yeah. All right, and my 11, like I said, is Kyle Pitts. I wanted him in the top 10, but his decline last year really terrified me, so I just have him just outside the top 10. So you're 12?
My 12 is going to be Kincaid for Buffalo.
Love that pick. I love Dalton Kincaid. I think he's going to be a monster. My 12 is Hayden Hurst. I think Bryce Young's going to really take advantage of having a experienced tight end with some leadership. Him and Thielen should really help Bryce Young feel comfortable in this offense. So, and head coach loves his tight ends. So, all right, 13.
The slide finally stops for this man. Like we talked about, contested catches for the wide receiver. I think some things are going to open up this year for Freiermuth out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's a good pick. 13 for me is hard because I really wanted to see him yesterday. But I've got Michael Mayer finally on the list because Jimmy G throwing to tight ends has a really good reputation, really good numbers for tight ends, and they've already said that he's probably going to play over Hooper. So I'm a big fan of Michael Mayer in this Vegas situation.
Yeah.
So
I don't think
it was hard because I didn't see him yesterday, but they didn't start any starters. So part of me is like, maybe that's just because they have him listed as the starter. I don't know. As a rookie, I expect to see him though, but again, we'll see what happens next week. But anyway, 14.
14. Going to be being thrown to by a quarterback who finally breaks the Bears curse and throws for 4,000 yards. Cole Kmet.
The guy that got way the fuck overpaid, Cole Kmet. But no, he's a good tight end. He really is. Just a stupid amount of money that they decided to fork out on him when they weren't willing to pay Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
But there's another Notre Dame guy, so you got to, he's going to slide to 14 because he's going to miss his couple games. But good tight end. Really, he's a good tight end. He took a little to develop, but tight ends in the NFL take a little bit to develop because at college, if you're a receiving tight end, you don't block at all in college. They have blocking tight ends. So the fact that he is a receiving tight end in the league, he had to learn how to block, so they didn't use him a lot. And now he's actually learned how to get the blocking formations in, and he's done really well improving. So I think with Fields growing,
think their schedule allows for him to get some more.
Yeah, and I think with Fields growing and DJ Moore is going to take a lot of focus, and Darnell Mooney will take a little bit of extra focus. I think he will grow a lot this year. So I actually think that's a really good shout I didn't think of. All right, my 14 is Greg Dulcich. I do love him, so I have to make sure I have him on my list, and I think he's going to have a pretty good year. I just think that I got to see Russell consistently get him the ball because the games he got him the ball, he had some hella fucking good games. So, all right, and your last one, 15?
Sliding under the radar. Very underrated. Their schedule is easier. New quarterback, good defense. They're going to see the ball a lot. Juwan Johnson out of New Orleans.
Ooh. I like that pick. You had to give me a minute. I'm struggling here with 15.
Good. Take your minute because I have to use the restroom.
Okay, good, because I've been looking at 15 for a while. I don't know. It's hard not to have Freiermuth, but again, I really have problems with that. I just have so many problems with that quarterback room. There's some good options here because he 15th tight end. I don't know if I really want to go rookie again, but I'm on the line with one. Ooh. Part of me also likes that kid in Tennessee. Chikozim Okonwu, but that's again another little bit of bias being a Maryland guy. I might be a little crazy on him, but I'm struggling here to find a reason not to love him because realistically he's probably the second best receiving option. But Darnell Washington being in Pittsburgh now makes me a little less comfortable with Freiermuth. As much as I want to put him at 15, I'd probably say he's my 16th, and I'm going to take a gamble again on another rookie. And I hate that he's in the NFC North because I don't want to see him, but I'm going to go with Sam Laporta.
Out of Detroit?
Yeah.
Not a bad pick. I had some bubble guys that you had, like Hayden Hurst. Like I think he has the potential to be in the top 15. I just don't know if I'd pick him there.
Yeah, with the quarterback, it's a little hard, but I just look at that room.
I've seen people putting Taysom Hill above him. I'm like, don't do that. Like,
not with Juwan Johnson. I think Juwan Johnson's way better than Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson. I like Gerald Everett, but there's so many weapons on that team.
And Gerald hasn't really lived up to his name out with the Chargers.
Who's like the Titans? What is it? A Quanco?
I was talking about him while you're gone. A Quanco or whatever. He could really be something.
He could, but I don't want to touch Tennessee with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, and Sam Laporta for me is the guy replacing Hawkinson, right? So I'm like, they trusted him in the draft. They really liked what they had in him. So I'm like, this could be the guy I could see, be a good outlet for golf, especially while Jameson Williams is gone. Like, he's probably your number 2 receiver. So I'm going to trust that he's 15th. Rookies are hard. I mean, I know I took 4 of them.
Yeah, like the Michael Mayer pick, like I can see why you did it. I'm just not there yet.
I didn't even get to see him, which is really frustrating because I had him on my list even higher. But then when he didn't play, I was like, I can't suggest people consider him one of the top 10 because I had him 8th. But when you don't play, because what he did in college is stupid. The numbers he put up in college were asinine. Even against top teams like USC, he was putting up crazy numbers. And I'm like, if this guy could just be what he was, like if he could take that step, people say he's the next Jimmy Graham. If he's the next fucking Jimmy Graham, then that's a big play.
Right.
But I really can't stand that we haven't gotten to see him, and there's not a lot of film on him yet. And with the Raiders, people are saying he looks good. They said he looks better than Hooper, so he'll probably play as the starter. But again, that's all probably in speculation. I don't fucking know. They went and signed Austin Hooper for a reason, regardless if they drafted Michael Mayer. So there's got to be a reason.
It's kind of the reason, like, if you have to pick up a secondary, I'd pick up, like, my bubble guys, like Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki. Like, they're going to split touches. So, like, why would you go with one or the other? Just let them slide. I think an interesting one is Isaiah Likely for Indianapolis.
Wait, Likely left the Ravens?
Or not Isaiah Likely. Jelani Woods.
Oh, Jelani Woods is fucking really interesting because he was a rookie last year, and we had moments where I was like, this guy's going to be special. But then, he had those moments off. But rookie tight ends have the hardest adjustment period of any position in the league. If you ask anybody that enters the league, quarterback and tight end have the biggest adjustment snaps of all. Running back and receiver, the game's still the same. You're just facing different corners and better linebackers. Tight ends, not only are you facing better linebackers and safeties, you also have to learn how to block, catch, run, learn the quarterback cadences. You have to do so much different than anything else you did in college. It's why rookie tight ends can be so hit or miss. And I know I took 4 of them in this list, but they're all 4 I took are speed guys, except for Michael Mayer, are speed guys that can make the field grow for their quarterbacks.
But Michael Mayer fits the system he went to.
100%. He is a physical
McDaniel's offense.
Yeah, he's a physical, big, beefy dude who can catch the ball and still has decent speed.
By the way, from what I've seen on Mayer, even though what we're talking about is all good, they say he's going to slide about 10 draft picks. So he would be a good pick to let slide and pick up late and slot into an offense if you need to let the tight end slide. Because a lot of people are going to sleep on him, and McDaniel's offense has always heavily relied on tight ends.
Yeah, and if you don't get one of the top tight ends, don't panic. Let them slide because tight ends slide. And I know we didn't – homer pick maybe a little bit of bias. I saw a lot of positive in college. But people like Dalton Kincaid and Luke Musgrave are going to slide, and they're probably going to be the top 2 rookies, not just because – like for Dalton Kincaid, it's simply his quarterback has a fucking freak arm, and Dalton Kincaid has the speed to expand the field, which Josh Allen rewards you when you can expand the field.
So what you're saying is think Tom Brady and Gronk.
Yeah. So and then Jordan Love has 2 a second-year receiver and a second-year receiver, and Jordan Love is going to have to start to feel comfortable in the middle of the field, and Dalton Kincaid is the tight end. Like there's Tyler Davis ain't number 2. We drafted another guy, and I think that other guy will pass Tyler Davis in the near future for number 2. But Luke Musgrave will 100% be the Packers' number 1. And you saw it last year as the year went on. We started throwing a lot more to the tight end towards the end of the season once Tanyan got healthy. But Tanyan, is gone, and he's in Chicago playing behind Cole Kmet.
Yeah, the other one that's super intriguing to me is for the Jets.
I don't even know who they have. Conklin?
Tyler Conklin?
New.
He's so far down the chart, but it's like, fuck. By the way, you have Aaron Rodgers throwing you the ball.
That is a big hole. Yeah, Tyler Conklin's I was actually kind of amazed they didn't go get a tight end. Not that Conklin's bad, but Rodgers does love a tight end, so I thought they would go get like a big name.
But maybe they don't need to. Maybe they're like, hey, he's working out already. Just leave him where he is.
Yeah. But tight ends are
teams I wouldn't touch. I wouldn't touch like Zach Ertz from Arizona.
He's on ESPN's list way higher than he should be. I was shocked.
Their offense is just going to be so piss poor. I just can't see that working out.
Yeah.
I like the Laporta talk. Laporta would be good. Irv Smith with Cincinnati.
That's one I had a really hard time not taking. But again, where do you fit in? Because Joe Burrow has never thrown to a tight end commonly. Like even Hayden Hurst was just average last year at best because he has so many other weapons.
Now Hayden Hurst actually his stock goes up for where he went.
Yeah. Yeah. I just
Cade Otton is like a very late backup just because their offense is going to be so poor that you have to think Baker is going to learn to throw to a tight end, but it might not work.
Yeah. And I don't think you can take any of the Rams tight ends comfortably, or not Rams, Seahawks tight ends comfortably because they throw to like all 4 of them. So you never know which one, which day. It's been hard. This tight end, like I said, if you don't get one of the top 5 guys, 6 guys, because I would say
let it slide.
Yeah, like if you get all the way up and Hawkinson, Kittle, Andrews, Kelsey, and Engram are gone, let it slide. Just let it go. I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, go ahead and take Goddard. Goddard probably will do all right for you. But
if you don't get your tight end, one of those guys in the first 2 rounds, slide it to the 5th or 6th round. Like there's no need to pick them up.
yeah,
You can just load up on running backs that'll be way more trade value during the season, or a wide receiver that'll be way more trade value during the season. Because if your tight end gets hurt and he's from the 6th round, you're replacing him with a guy that's going to put up the same numbers.
yeah. I mean, if you guys join our league, any of you, Boogie Bear, Tesco, anybody wants to join our league, let us know. We are looking for a couple more people. But I will tell you what, you guys are going to see it. If I don't get a good enough pick and I don't get like Kelsey or Andrews, you're going to see me let tight ends slide. I historically don't take tight ends.
The reason I took what I did last year was kind of the situation we talked about earlier, where I had picks that were close and they were available. So I said, okay, I already took Mahomes and Kelsey's available. Now I'm guaranteeing 50 points a game.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, but the difference, like, if you don't get Kelsey, you take a gamble automatically at tight end. And I'm not saying the other ones aren't great, but Andrews, we saw it last year. No. He was the number 2, but what happened?
Kelsey doesn't put up tight end numbers. He puts up wide receiver. So if wide receivers, all the top 3-4 wide receivers are gone and he's there, you take him because it's guaranteed. And if you have a close enough pick and nobody takes Mahomes, well, every time Mahomes throws to Kelsey, you get double points. So you're literally solidifying what works. And that is Kansas City scoring points. And who scores the points for Kansas City? Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. That's it.
Coordinator enough to handle IDP. We get it. A lot of people don't like IDP. They like the simplicity.
It is a deep draft, and you have to have a lot of knowledge, but it's so much fun. Statistically, for me, my brain works math ways, so I actually really enjoy it.
And the website we draft on gives you a lot of help on IDP. They give you stats from last year and projected stats for this year. They also include them in the mock drafts, like in the board, so you'll see where they're at. So, not saying to join. It makes it a lot easier.
You know, Matt and I watch a lot of football when we're drafting linebackers before we draft other offensive players.
Last year I drafted I think it was Roquan. I don't remember who was on my team. I drafted one of my linebackers before I drafted my first tight end.
I drafted Frankie Louvu early.
Smart pick.
I'd have to log into the site to see what we played. I don't even remember.
I just got my lineup up.
What was the site we used last year?
It's Flea Flicker.
Ah, yes. I was trying to think.
I don't know who it was. I'm so glad we lost a lot of people because we're not doing keeper, and I'm glad because I actually drafted Derwin James before my tight end.
Also a wonderful pick.
Oh no, I didn't because I drafted Pitts in round 3. I don't know who it was. Running back. Yep.
Yeah, see, I had the last pick in the draft, so I went Mahomes, Kelsey back to back.
Yeah, running back, because my running backs are literally my running backs are J.K. Dobbins and Devin Singletary. Yeah, it was running back. That's what cost me in the end, too, pushing against you in the Super Bowl. Well,
actually, no. Sorry. That's where I'll draft this year if the draft stays the same, but it won't because we're adding and removing.
We lost so many people, yeah.
So my draft, I had 3rd pick. I went Eckler, Kelsey, Lamb, Mahomes.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
Brandon Cooks, who turned out to be
Is there a way to pull up last year's draft?
Yeah. So if you go to the draft board and then just click the year before.
Oh, I'm on the app.
I can tell you who you drafted. You drafted 6.
Curious.
Cooper Kupp.
Okay, so I got Kupp, not Jefferson.
Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, boy.
Elijah Moore. James Cook. You got DeAndre Hopkins after his suspension.
Yeah.
Then you went Derwin James.
There you go. Yeah, and Derek Carr is my backup quarterback.
Here was mine. Look, Eckler, Kelsey, CeeDee Lamb, Mahomes, Brandon Cooks, Josh Jacobs. I got in the 6th round.
Jesus Christ.
Michael Thomas, and then I went Bobby Wagner, Drake London, Fred Warner, C.J. Mosley.
Yeah, you dominated the linebackers.
Yeah, I got the linebackers that everybody needs: Logan Ryan, Robert Quinn, Rasul Douglas, L'Jarius Sneed, Quinnen Williams, Kevin Byard.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I went all defense straight away.
Minus my running backs. I loved my team last year, so I'm hoping this year's different. We'll see. I have a little more.
By the way, after Byard, I got Michael Carter, and then I got my kicker, Daniel Carlson, one of the best kickers in the league.
I don't even know who my kicker was. I think it was Will Lutz.
Let's see. So you went.
It was probably my
Derek Carr, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Devin Singletary, Chris Olave, Romeo Dobbs. It takes what, like a couple hours?
We did it during the pod, so we did it throughout the entire pod. So about 2 hours.
We literally stream it.
Yeah, we put it on the screen so everybody can see everybody's pick, and we discuss each thing.
So you went Romeo Dobbs, Jeff Simmons from Tennessee, David Bell, wide receiver, James Robinson, Isaiah Likely, and then Cade York was your kicker.
Yeah, Cade York. What a monster out of fucking for Cleveland out of LSU. Love Cade York. All right, so when we come back next week, it's NFC North and South to speed up time here. And then we don't have any like tight end or anything talk or like we're done. We're not probably going to rank IDPs. If we do, we'll do it the following week.
Also, if you have questions about the draft or your draft, send us a message during the week.
Yeah.
If we're not here, send a message. We can answer a question. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, simply if you join our Discord, just do here. Hold on. If you join that, you can ask fantasy questions. You can reach out to either of us through Discord. I can't speak for Dot, but I am very open to helping anything on fantasy. Like I know,
absolutely. Fantasy football is one of my things. Like I get locked in.
I'm just talking sports in general. I love to talk sports, and I don't have anyone in my life that loves to watch every single fucking sport like I do. So, like, honestly, I'll talk sports to anybody. If someone wants to talk any sport, even if it's a sport I don't watch, I'll go fucking watch it so I can have someone to talk to about a sport.
I go back to my number one ultimate tweet or X or whatever it's called now. I literally was up at 2:00 in the morning watching cricket, and I tweeted some clip from cricket out. I was like, I don't really understand this, but I really like it. And I was trying to understand the game of cricket, and like 165 people commented within 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh, well, thanks for helping. But like, that's what I'm trying to do for other people when it comes to football is I want to give my knowledge, but I also need knowledge back. Like,
yeah,
I want to be all sports.
That's what I do about rugby is one of the best sports in the world. I used to play rugby in high school.
Rugby, Australian rules, football, anything.
That's what I was about to say. When I went to Montana State, I had plenty of nights where I just couldn't sleep. And while I was playing Skyrim, because Skyrim came out while I was out there, I would have up on the background, I would just turn on sports. And one of the nights, ESPN, for some reason, I guess, was out of content, put on Australian rules football, and I could not stop watching. And I just went and watched it on YouTube after that. I was like,
show me lacrosse. Show me fucking women's field hockey. I want it all. Like, I need to know what's going on. I need to understand it. I need to know who's the best. That's just the way sports work in my brain is like, I want knowledge about sports.
I'll watch anything but F1 nowadays. I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't. Watching Max Verstappen just win every single race by a mile gets really boring.
F1 is so weird because it's the cars. It's not the driver. It's the car.
No, it's 100% the cars. And those two Red Bull cars are broken. I don't know
because Red Bull just will throw an unlimited amount of money at it and say, look, we're the best.
And Mercedes has all the other racing organizations and their own car production they worry about, so that's why they've fallen down a little bit. But it's just crazy. Like, I'm not trying to shit on people who watch F1. I'm a big NASCAR guy. I actually started watching a little Indy series on YouTube in the morning because I like the Indy cars. But just watching Max Verstappen just go out there every single week and dominate race by race by race, I just it's gotten to the point where I'm just like, I can't watch it anymore. It's just gotten to the it's just.
Doesn't it say a lot when Lewis Hamilton says our car sucks?
Yeah. And he's third in points.
And
regardless
he's like,
his car sucks.
No matter how hard I drive the car, I can't catch him.
Yeah.
So figure out the fucking car, because I'm also one of two of the best drivers on the planet, and your car sucks, is what he's telling his team.
Yeah, it's cool though. Like I said, sport's cool. I love racing. I love it. I'm like, people think NASCAR is so boring, but let me tell you, ratings are at an all-time high this year. They've got guys coming over from Japan racing in the Indy race this week. They had
people hate golf. Okay,
I know.
I love golf.
But
people
just love
golf.
I know, and I love like people like, I can't believe you watch people turn left. I'm like, there's so much more to NASCAR than turning left, man.
I play human fetch, and I watch people play human fetch. Okay. But I will watch a competitive game of curling. I love it. Darts, give it to me.
Shane, the guy, the horny gnome bar, when he does his fucking streams of him and his wife playing darts, I'll just watch. I'm like, I can watch people play darts, no problemo.
Darts. Now the new things. What a disc golf, pickleball, and fucking cornhole. Like, give it to me. I will watch competitive anything. I will watch the World Series of Poker. I love poker. Like, I will watch all of it.
Yep. So I'll talk, like I said, you guys at our Discord, just talk to us. We love sports, man. And I would love our Discord to get going to just sports conversation and have actual talks. I blow up Chewy, and I feel bad because I don't know how often Chewy wants his Discord going off. But like every time I hear soccer news, I'm in Chewy's Discord just talking soccer news because he'll at least respond because it's soccer. I love sports. So if anyone wants to join our Discord, just talk sports.
If you love appreciate the World Series of Poker, we're friends.
We'll watch it. Look, I've talked about it. Doc can join it. He can just guest star on it. I'm looking for a second night for more content, more stuff, not just football, rugby, NASCAR, WWE, anything. We'll talk.
You give me the topic, I'll study it. Trust me.
Like, I'm looking for a second night to add more content to social media, to us in general, to get more different variety of viewers in here. I've even thought about like during the day early, like on a Saturday, like 10 to noon or something, to give a daytime shout so people over in London can join and stuff. And we can maybe even talk a little soccer at the time. I'm starting to think of ideas. So if anyone wants to join us, talk to us, talk sports, just feel free to join and hang out. We even have people on the show if you want to join the show. We don't fucking care. We're very laid back and easy as it is. As long as you're not racist or homophobic, we really don't give a flying fuck. So, hi, Mew. Welcome back from putting the hole in my foot. All right, but anyway, we're going to raid out here potentially. I can't actually say that because I have no fucking clue if anyone's live at 11 o'clock at night on a Monday. But I've got to do it quick because my dogs are losing their minds. So give me a second.
So by the way, just so you know, who Merrill Hodge said he would have taken above Johnny Manziel in that comment I made earlier. Same draft was the draft where Clowney went number 1, who he also said he wouldn't draft.
Yeah.
He goes, I would take Khalil Mack, Mike Evans, Aaron Donald, and Ryan Shazier first.
Yeah, all that makes sense. Besides Ryan Shazier's injury, like he was literally on pace to become one of the best linebackers in the league.
His 5th pick would have been C.J. Mosley.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, nailed that entirely. All right, I got nobody.
Manziel did fall to 22nd, but Clowney was first. And Khalil Mack was 5th. Evans 7th.
Yeah.
By the way, Taylor Lewan went 11th. He didn't even mention him. Odell Beckham went 12th. Aaron Donald 13th. Aaron Donald went 13th compared to Jadeveon Clowney number 1.
Yeah.
Shazier went 15th. CJ Mosley went 17th.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that guy is actually pretty fun. And DeMarcus Lawrence went 34th.
Yeah. All right, you got anything? Anybody?
Let me look.
I gotta get these dogs OUT, so I gotta make this quick.
No, actually, I don't have really anybody streaming. Fuck.
Cool. All right, guys, we'll be back next Monday at 8 p.m. North and South in the NFC next week. So we'll be busy talking about a lot of stuff. Any more news breaks, we'll be around for it. I'm going to try and find time this week to just get things set on social media. So we already have a YouTube channel. We already have a Twitter. We have a Twitch. We have a Facebook. We're everywhere. We just need to start posting stuff. Good night, Boogie. Thanks for hanging.
Post your draft questions. Post your sports questions.
Yeah, we would absolutely love
anything. We would love a little bit of interaction.
Oh, we love hot takes. We're dumb for hot takes. All right. We love you guys. We'll be back next Monday. Have a great night, a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Night, guys. Have a good one.